Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything, but if you do, you'll get caught up at your leisure because when the show ends, we always post it upon the conclusion, both the iTunes and in our own audio vault. Plus, you can find it on the WTSM app, so that's a good thing as well. Feel free to email if you'd like. JCS979ESPNradio.com. Funny email from a guy who's been emailing a lot. I'll read that in a bit. I just think he's ill-informed, Tom. I just think he doesn't know something that would really make his life a lot easier. So I'm going to tell him this hour, and he'll feel better. I think. Maybe not. On Twitter, it's at J. Cameron Show. And if you want to Periscope the program, follow at 979 ESPN Radio on Twitter. You can do so there. Hello, YouTubers. I hope this Monday sees you doing well. Thanks for tuning in to us. What a weekend. Man, some years you get a slew of games that just remind you how much you love the tournament. And other years, not so much. But this one is certainly the first, right? It is every time you look up. I mean, I went into a couple of games this weekend just with mild interest because of the round that they were in and found myself riveted, nervous for the combatants, for the kids. I'm not in a pool this year. I'm not in, well, not that kind of a pool. I'm not in a bracket thing like I usually am. I decided to go without this year. I know everybody loves to do brackets. They kind of wear you out. They bog you down sometimes. A little bit like playing fantasy, Sometimes you go, I just want to watch the damn game. I don't want to, I need this and I need that, and they better hit this shot because my bracket will be. I just wanted to watch the games. And I have to admit, I loved it.
Well, this tournament's been a late bloomer because, it was a lot of chalk, obviously, to get you to the Sweet 16. But we thought, okay, if it's going to be chalk, maybe there's a late payoff, and there certainly has been.
Man, it's been one after the other and just so many good games. And moments where you learn a kid's name for the first time and you watch them perform seemingly without I guess a recognition of what's at stake here. Here's the deal about the NCAA tournament, man. You played a whole season in your conference. You had upwards of 18 games in your conference plus a tournament, and all of that was to get to this. And now, as ask Virginia, no matter what was accomplished during that time, it could all go by the wayside with one bad night, one performance where something's a little off or somebody else is having a career night. And so with that comes the added pressures of making it all worthwhile, right, of a season well played. Now you must go on this run if you're a 1 seed or a 2 seed, right? And for the most part, they have. And it's what set up Duke, Michigan State, for example, 1 versus 2. And prior to that, you had that crazy game against Virginia Tech and UCF. And so Duke has struggled to get to this point. But you go back and you think about what you were watching with Purdue, who I really adored watching them play in this tournament. I thought they were sensational. And when you got guys that we describe a certain way as having a certain amount of what for to them, and they're hoisting shots from 10 feet beyond the arc, or they're 5'8", and they're finding a way to do this, you tend to gravitate to those kinds of players. It's either them or you gravitate towards the larger-than-life figures like a Zion, right? This tournament's had all of that. These players that emerged that you maybe didn't know about as much, superstars that play at a high level, coaches, high-profile resumes, the whole deal, games that come down to the wire with drama and great theater time and again. And as a fan, once your team's out of it, that's all you can hope for, is to have that. And it's what makes this thing magical, but it's also what makes this thing infuriating, I think, to some extent. Or certainly it is the yearly reveal that the best team does not always win, and in fact frequently does not win the national championship in college basketball. And I'm not saying Duke is. They're knocked out. They really looked vulnerable for much of this tournament. But I am saying that, who can explain the game you got from North Carolina to look that bad? And good on Auburn, who is playing better than really almost anybody in this tournament. They have been sensational. But But their 9-loss regular season would not have portended of this. You would not have thought that that was going to happen.
Well, you had some really entertaining games with some great finishes, and now you got 4 teams, all of which are capable of winning. It's more than you can say of last year, where it felt like Villanova was just going to go ahead and win the damn thing.
Yeah, everything was going to be a coronation leading to that moment, yeah.
So these games that we have coming up on Saturday are going to be interesting. And I think, honestly, that the real test of it was you and I were golfing on Saturday with some friends, and it comes up in the conversation. On a golf course, and it's in Tallahassee, Florida, after Florida State's been eliminated, the day after we've been eliminated, and it's still a talking point. And people saying, oh, man, did you see this? Did you see that? Well, let me tell you what happened here in the final 2 minutes. And the other people say, I saw that. It made its way into the average Joe's household, even in a college market where the team has been eliminated, and where our hearts are broken a little bit. We still tuned in, watched it, and there was a payoff.
Did you watch the Duke-Virginia Tech game? Did you take that in? Did you see the very end? I know you've seen the replay. You and I were talking about this. I'm blown away. Buzz draws up a perfect play at the end of that game. It's an inbounds play.
After the one with 8-9 seconds left, where you're like, what is this?
Oh, yeah, that was a terrible play, right? So they have 1.1, and it's for Hill, and they throw it up, and it is a perfect lob. It's everything you can ask for. And I don't know if he didn't think 1.1 was enough time to catch and dunk, or if he thought that it was one of those, that the time was of the moment where you have to just basically touch a basketball, where you can't.
Like Jonathan Isaac at the Thanksgiving Day game. Remember that?
Yeah.
He rushed it, and he floated it over the basket, and apparently he was inconsolable afterwards. But yes, it's because the clock was moving way faster in his head than it was in reality.
Oh, man. I mean, this is a catch and dunk, and we're going to OT, and he doesn't. He just slaps at it and lets it go through his hands, and it's crazy. So Duke survives that, which set up the matchup against Michigan State. I really thought that run late in the first half that Duke went on, I think they put him up by 9, was going to be an indicator of what was to come the rest of that game, especially because Duke was beginning to hit threes at that point. But give Michigan State credit, man. They are tough mentally. They are obviously tough physically, and they rally back. We had so many of these games that left you just awe-inspired. Purdue, Virginia is as good as you're going to see in an NCAA tournament game.
Of the entire weekend, I think I was most locked in and invested solely on the basketball yesterday. Those 2 games were both phenomenal, and just that second half of Michigan State-Duke was something to behold, because every time a team did, climb out to that 4 or 6 point margin, you think, well, it's going to be tough to close the gap here, and yet it always was. And I think the obvious thing that we're looking at yesterday in the second half that kept Duke in the game, they got to the free throw line. And the thing that kept Michigan State out ahead was Duke was turning the ball over left and right. A lot of times trying to get the ball in the post to Zion. He's being doubled, little high-low game, and they fire it right over his head. How many times do we see that happen? But there was just a lot to pick from. It's hard to pick one thing from this weekend of basketball because a lot of it was really, really good.
I think if I'm going to pick one thing, it's Ty Jerome. I enjoyed I just, there's a lot of things, the moments late in games where decisions come into, and kids under immense pressure have to make plays, have to make tough decisions, and there were just a lot of things that happened for Purdue. I know when we played them earlier in the year, Tom, admittedly, I didn't think that Purdue was going to go on to have the season that they did. I didn't realize it was as significant a win as it was. Watching that team, they're good, man. They were really good at the end of the year.
Well, and also in hindsight, one of my favorite games of the early season was Purdue at Virginia Tech. That game was incredibly entertaining, and I thought, all right, maybe it's a battle of some, B-level teams. But still, it was good basketball. No. That ended up being a battle of 2 teams that would turn out to be national title contenders. I mean, truly, if you think about it, all these teams that were left in the 16 and the 8, any one of these teams could have won the national title. I don't think that's a stretch to say, including us.
Can you imagine if we end up with, Texas Tech and Auburn?
Oh, I know it, right?
I mean, imagine the possibilities. It's actually not shocking to think about that at all. Texas Tech was the team that I told you that if we could get past Gonzaga, I wanted Michigan to beat them because I thought we matched up really well against Michigan. I thought we'd beat Michigan. We'll never know. Texas Tech manhandled Michigan, and that kind of played out the way that I thought it might. As far as Auburn goes, they're playing as well as anybody in this tournament right now, and so it's hard to actually pick Virginia here. Now, I would say that for Tony Bennett and crew, they have avenged last year's bitter disappointment, historical disappointment. You get to the Final Four, okay, anything can happen once you made the Final Four.
A couple of good plays down the stretch, and they had to score some points to win it, which is also something you'd like to see. If they're going to earn it, well, can you earn it by not scoring 55 and cruising through the tournament? Can you score in the 70s or the 80s? I know they hit overtime there.
Well, you hit a shot with 1.2
right.
seconds to play.
Which,
that's, I mean,
you steal somebody's soul. But for me, the one thing I take away is those Auburn Tigers that everybody knew. They just knew that they were going to be in the Final Four weeks away. So I guess that means Wisconsin at some point is going to win a national title here because the way Auburn was ranked, it was pretty aggressive. But it was yesterday against Kentucky, and it was Kentucky as an underdog in the second half. The way that game was being played up and down the court, you knew that Brown or Harper was going to score a basket.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like a 70. It was like a 70 to 80% proposition that they were going to score, and it was going to be one of those two guys. And it's like, how does Kentucky continue to generate offense? They can't hit threes. Hero's not doing anything from the perimeter. So how can Kentucky fight and claw to stay in this game? And they did enough that obviously they get the thing to overtime.
I thought Kentucky was going to lose to Houston, and they barely got past Houston, and then that thing got to overtime against Auburn, but they didn't look like the better team. Auburn did, so there's that, and Auburn has played exceptionally well. It's been a fun tournament, and in one that obviously we get disappointed with a loss in the Sweet 16, especially to watch Gonzaga go down and get thumped. It's a little frustrating, but at the same time, we certainly aren't going to describe our season in any way other than another very, very good year. And now I'm just eager to see what's the next step for Florida State as I watch this tournament. When I watch a Texas Tech reach the Final Four for the first time, when I watch an Auburn do what they're doing, when I watch some of these teams that obviously who by and large came out of nowhere, you do realize that again. You keep giving yourself these opportunities. You keep getting back to the tournament. That's what it's about. You could be part of that madness. Back-to-back years, Sweet 16. You got another good recruiting class coming in. You've got a lot of talent coming back. I would pencil Florida State into the upper echelon of the ACC. That is to say top 6. Obviously, they'll be back in the tournament, one would think. And I'm really eager to see what, frankly, at this point, a healthy Florida State team does. Because, again, the nucleus comes back.
Oh, man, if you had Kofor and Nichols, we could be still talking about, a season that is continuing on and our flights up to Minneapolis. Doesn't mean we were assured of doing it, but
no.
A lot better of a chance. But that's where Auburn also gets credit, too, because, they got a kid on the sidelines yesterday in a wheelchair.
Overcome an injury, yeah.
And apparently he's in excruciating pain. And it's also really awkward. Could they have not brought him closer to the bench? He's like facing parallel to the court, and he's right next to all these fans who I'm sure are annoying him the entire game. Like, after the first, hey, man, hope you feel better thing.
Get better.
I mean, now they're talking to you, the under 16.
Every time they kept showing him, he was also looked down, like, away at the opposite tunnel. You could just see him, like almost like he was turned sideways. Don't watch, son. Don't watch of what you're missing. Like, turn him to face better so we can see the game.
Can you just angle him? I know he's kind of trapped there in case there's somebody crashes out of bounds, but that just looked really awkward, and it looked like he wasn't a part of anything. He was more of a sideshow.
Virginia facing Auburn, 6:09 p.m., Minneapolis on Saturday, and then it's the late game with Michigan State and Texas Tech at around 9 o'clock. CBS with the coverage there. I'll be watching. Yeah, I'll be tuned in.
We'll have those games right here.
Well, and of course, that leads us to the topic of the week, only because it has to be, right, which is Florida State's spring game this upcoming weekend. And again, I've been asked several times over the last, 5 to 7 days, what I've seen of practice, and that would be zilch. Not seeing anything from practice. We're all just taking people's words for it. You're listening to players say it was good practice. Defense carried the day in the scrimmage over the weekend. The more important news to me over the weekend was that nobody got hurt. That stance hasn't changed. I have said over and over again whether I thought we were great and I couldn't wait to see us play, or there were emerging superstars and I wanted to see how much they had grown into their role, or how much weight they'd put on, or how much different they looked from a year ago, or if I thought we were going to be terrible. Either way, all I ever wanted from spring was to take a step forward in areas where you got to get better. So that would be the offensive line, in this case linebacker, and a couple other spots, right? And to stay healthy. And knock on wood, they have stayed healthy. That is the big news coming out of the spring. I know Kendall Brow's install is the topic, but when you can't see it, you can't know, and all you can do is trust that when they tell you they're making progress, they are. And when I hear that the defense rules the day, well, in spring football, the defense usually rules the day. It better. And in this case, that's the area that's nothing changing, right? These are all guys that are playing similar roles, and you only add more depth and more talent to a linebacking core that needs it. So it's good to continue to read how those guys are progressing. But without being able to see it, you don't really know. Get through spring, be healthy, grow within the offense, earn some trust with one another, find a place where you're happy again, because the locker room certainly wasn't a year ago. I mean, these are all catchphrases, true, but they're applicable here. So I need to see that and then get out of this thing healthy, and we'll all await the fall. And obviously at that point, it's just going to be a show and prove kind of season.
Yeah, and then line up those recruits to say, yes, if you win minimum 8 games. Just don't promise them 10. Promise them, 7 or 8.
Don't promise them anything. You never know. You don't want to shortchange yourself. You could get crazy and win 10 games. You could be awful and lose 6, and therefore you'll be on your way out the door. It'll be a lame duck coach. We'll have an awful recruiting class. I mean, who knows? We are in limbo, friends. There it is. That's right. Click that pin. Jot those notes. Let's wait and see. That's all you got left there. The baseball team sucks. I'll tell you about it in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Trey, I can't believe we're sending some lucky fans to your holy grail, the NFL Draft.
Don't believe it. All 3 days of the NFL Draft. Hang with us, meet the NFL Live, College Game Day, and First Take crews, plus a ton more awesome experiences like hanging out with the host of ESPN's draft coverage.
Trey, you're the host of our draft coverage.
Pretty good, ain't it?
Listen to Golick and Wingo weekdays at 6 Eastern now through April 10th for your chance to win with the 2019 ESPN Draft Sweepstakes. Visit ESPNradio.com for official contest rules.
Are you looking for a trucking company you can work with till retirement? Do you want to feel like you're part of a family instead of just a truck number? If so, join the early trucking family that's been trucking for 25 years. ETC offers a benefit package that's second to none, including a 401k, paid vacations, sick leave, health insurance, Aflac group rates, and long-term care with only 2 health questions and a $1,000 signing bonus. They have regional dry van, hopper, and tanker lines available, home every weekend or more. Go to earlytruckingcompany.com to fill out an application. Help ETC keep agriculture in motion.
Wahoo Seafood Grill, Tallahassee's leader in fresh seafood, is located right behind the Best Western on North Monroe. Lunch specials start at $7.99. Be sure to try their award-winning house-made burger. Big lunch parties are also welcome. Wahoo Seafood Grill makes lunch specials a very affordable choice. Delivery is available and plenty of parking. Wahoo Seafood Grill, easy access from any part of town using I-10. Visit them online at wahooseafoodgrill.com or call them today at 850-629-4059.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark,
tsparkconstruction.com.
It's been many months since Hurricane Michael devastated our area. Many people are still dealing with the damages and finding it hard to get a local contractor to contact them. Are you struggling with getting assistance to fix your damages? Are you feeling like your insurance company is not being fair? If your answer is yes to any of these questions, we can help. My name is Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I'm asking you to give us a call today for your free consultation. Let my company guide you through the process to get your home back to normal.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, tsparkconstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204. Join the FSU Autism Institute on Sunday, April the 7th from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for their third annual Kickin' It for Autism Soccer Clinic in partnership with the FSU soccer team and coaches. This is an event for all ages and abilities. Net proceeds from this event will benefit the FSU Autism Institute. For more information, please visit fsucard.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
And another series lost. Florida State falls to Boston College. Boston College isn't good at baseball. We lost the series at home and continue to give up a boatload of runs. The win was on walk-off fashion, so you did get one victory of the three played. Eking out one win against BC at home is not a good weekend of ACC baseball. That is troubling to say the least. Perhaps not as troubling as walking 12 people in a game like we did in the first of this series. Perhaps not as troubling as watching Drew Parrish suck yet again as he did in the first game of this series. They don't pick up the ball. They don't hit the ball. They don't do a lot real well. They can't pitch. So at this point, it's tough to project this being a good season in Coach Martin's final year. But that said, I would note that we've written him off before, and when you have the kind of career that Coach Martin has had, you do get the benefit of the doubt that it will get turned around because there have been more than a couple of occasions where a team played terribly and gave you no real reason to believe that they were going to be any good, but then found a way. And, in fact, I can recall a few of them, and one most recently, where you thought, wow, they may not make the postseason. And then not only did they make the postseason, they won the ACC tournament and put themselves in a position to get back out to Omaha. So I'm not going to write them off. I'm going to be harsh in my assessment of what they are up to this point in the season, which is all you can do. And by Florida State standards, and I think that's, certainly, look, it's all relative to the standards. You're not a victim of your own success. So Coach Martin has a set of standards. Mike Martin Jr., this team, this staff, this university believes that they recruit to and play to a certain level, and if they don't meet that standard, they would rightfully be described as disappointing or perhaps something harsher, as I frequently do. But by Florida State standards, this team's not any good at all. Just college baseball standards, average team. But by Florida State standards, they're awful. And again, when you don't pick up the ball, and you don't hit the ball consistently, and you don't pitch, well, what is it you say you do here? Now, all of that, again, could mean that they're on their way to winning the ACC. I mean, baseball's a weird game. This sport brings out weird results, and just when you think you've got something pegged because the evidence, the data points, the statistics tell you this is the makeup of a team. This is what they are. This is what they have proven themselves to be. This is the mirror we're holding up to them now. It goes the other way. Something else happens. Maybe that'll happen.
So what are you talking about, man? Don't go playing jokes.
Well, I know this. Within this season alone, we've already seen the 180. A team that we thought would be good defensively at the start of the year. I know Mike Martin Jr. certainly thought they'd be pretty good defensively. We all kind of did. Started out that way. And whether you're playing poor competition or elite competition, you still got to pick up the ball. I mean, hard hit ball to third is a hard hit ball to third. Turn into double plays, turn into double play. I mean, you got to make plays defensively regardless of the quality of competition. Now that those plays may certainly develop more frequently when you're facing a team that is with a little bit more firepower on the other side, but you still got to pick it up. And then it's that fateful game against Florida, first game of the series, and we make an error on a routine play up 6 runs, and it seems since that point we haven't been able to pick up the ball since, not with any degree of consistency, and that is maddening because you don't give yourself opportunities to be better. Starting pitching has been a problem all year long.
The pitching, I don't know, how much that was affected.
Where's that going to get better, right? I mean, how does that get better? I don't know.
It's mental, though. The rest of it's mental throughout the lineup, and then defensively speaking, you just wonder if this team feels like it's up against it because of the extra pressure of it being Martin's last season. If maybe it's created a monster unto itself because now you're feeling the pressure of the ACC standings. I don't know if in the clubhouse they post the standings, but if they do, they might want to erase that whiteboard.
Well, they have the internet. I mean, they can certainly look it up. I mean, I'm sure our players know right where they are in those standings.
But the up against it feeling we see it in individual sports all the time, and in some ways baseball is an individual sport that just happens to have a bunch of people on the field at the same time. So I don't know. It's how do you get out of it? Maybe get a couple of breaks, a blooper that you have no excuse because you're trying to pull the ball, you drop it into right field, and it gets you on base and you score a game-winning run. I don't know, but you need something freaky to turn the tide.
Yeah, you do need a little bit of good luck along the way and begin to feel good about yourself. There's no doubt. I don't know that helps. So Drew Parrish goes out and goes an inning and a third, 5 runs, 2 walks. The team walked 12 people on Friday. I mean,
so what are you talking about, man? Don't go playing jokes.
Yeah, that's really unwatchable, by the way. That's the other part about it, is you can lose a game 10-7, and you might say, well, that's a good game, and they fought hard, and they came back, and they came up just short. Man, you're walking 12 people. That's sorry-ass baseball. That's some stuff I see when I watch my kids in Little League, and they're like 8, 10, and 11. I mean, you're just –
and those are huge strike zones in Little League. And
when you see all those walks, you're like, God, man. I have to bite my tongue.
Anywhere from this kid's eyes to his shoelaces, they're going to call a strike, and we're still walking people.
Yeah, that's tough, right? I mean, you don't. It's just adding fuel to the fire when you don't pick up a baseball and when you don't throw strikes. And then if you want to add some salt to the wound, we do strike out a ton.
We knew that was coming, but the question in the preseason. But I'm saying
when you throw it on to that,
right.
When you got yourself a bonfire, you're just throwing stuff onto it there, Tom.
It's a little schnapps.
I mean, we need
That's what that is. It's a bottle of schnapps.
We need to do something we need to do something well.
What can we hang our hat on in Tallahassee, Florida?
No, seriously. I mean, there's lots of things we can hang our hat on: the softball team and the soccer team and the basketball team, and I think our tennis team's pretty good usually, and track team's real good, and the golf team's real good.
Within the dimensions of Mike Martin Field, what can we hang our hat on?
Not a lot, right? History, grand history, a lot of history.
Tradition.
A lot of tradition that we're not living up to currently, and that is to me, the biggest disappointment. That, look, I'm not saying you're trying to write this perfect script that the guy's going to win a national championship in his final season. Well, yeah, we can all dare to dream, but you certainly expect them to at least live up to the expectations of a real good and consistently great baseball program, and they're not doing that right now.
Omaha? I'm just trying to get to a regional.
Trying to win a series.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Now you can quickly and easily schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. This spring, turn to the experts at Carrier. Learn more about great rebates and 0% financing for up to 60 months. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
At Hardee's, we change deals forever. Deals used to be a way to get rid of the unpopular stuff. Well, Hardee's thinks deals should sell the best stuff for $2.49, which is why this Hardy value serves up a juicy charbroiled bacon double cheeseburger, our hot ham and cheese, or hand-breaded chicken in our Southern-style tender sandwich, each for only $2.49. One day, historians will look back on this Hardy value as a turning point for deal variety and quality. Historians like to make a big deal out of big deals. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Offer available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included.
Hey, this is Jeff Doxey, representing Premier Fine Homes. I'm proud to announce Premier's newest community, Brookside Village. Brookside has the great schools you want, some larger home sites, and is conveniently located on Ox Bottom Road between Ox Bottom Manor and Moore Pond. Call or text me today at 545-4747 or email me at jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. Remember, before you buy, try me at Brookside.
Okay, that ought to do it. Thanks, Jessica, for coming over and helping me declutter my home.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. Ooh, check it out. I found some loose change in this corner.
That is the second time you have found some hidden treasures in my house.
Do you know you can find savings in every corner of your home?
Okay, I'm listening.
You can find savings from the city of Tallahassee. With their 5% interest financing for more than 25 energy-efficient appliances, measures, and systems, you can get a loan for things like outdoor lighting, floor, ceiling, and wall insulation, Energy Star reflective roofing, and even things like gas ranges, fire logs, and grills.
Wait, even on grills? I've been shopping around for a new gas grill. I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure and invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
Rich Eisen here for Honda. Spring is here, which means it's the best time to visit your local Honda dealer for the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event. You can get a great deal on the Accord and Civic, which both come standard with Honda Sensing, and its suite of driver assistive and safety features to help you alert you to things you might miss on the road. They both offer thrilling performance thanks to their available turbocharged engines, and the available paddle shifters help make every drive feel sporty. So make sure you visit your local Honda dealer today.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and only can be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. Going on right now during Jeep Freedom Days. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. ST18J605 must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Join the FSU Autism Institute on Sunday, April 7th from 1 to 4:30 p.m. for their third annual Kicking It for Autism Soccer Clinic in partnership with the FSU soccer team and coaches. This is an event for all ages and abilities. Net proceeds from this event will benefit the FSU Autism Institute. For more information, please visit fsucard.com. 97.9 ESPN Radio is a proud partner of the Kicking It for Autism Soccer Clinic.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. The Red Sox signed shortstop Xander Bogaerts to a 6-year extension with a vesting option for a 7th year. ESPN's Jeff Passan reports Bogaerts will make $132 million over the 7 years he's currently under contract for. Yankees outfielder Giancarlo Stanton's landed on the injury list with a left bicep strain. He's the third Yankees outfielder to go on the injured list already this season, joining Aaron Hicks and Jacoby Ellsbury. Clint Frazier's being recalled to replace Stanton on the active roster. With Duke's season over, the focus for megastar freshman Zion Williamson, his future. Williamson said yesterday it's a high possibility he's played his last game in college, but nothing official. He is the projected number 1 pick in the draft, can play any position in the NBA, but his talent won't necessarily translate into an immediate turnaround for wherever he lands, notes ESPN college basketball analyst Seth Greenberg.
He can play in a high post. You can post him up. He can rebound the ball on the defensive end and initiate the fast break. Here's the thing. He's going to be drafted by a bad team. And he's going to be asked to do a lot. And he's not taking that team and taking them to the playoffs, even with free agency. He's going to be a terrific player at the next level, but there is going to be a transition period.
Our Seth Greenberg. NBA, no Jimmy Butler for the 76ers against the Mavericks tonight. He's out with back tightness. Philly will be without center Joel Embiid as well due to rest. Dallas rookie Luka Doncic dealing with a bruised right thigh. He will not play. Pistons forward Blake Griffin will sit out a second straight game against the Pacers tonight because of a sore left knee. Detroit currently a half game up on Brooklyn for 6th in the Eastern Conference. Indiana, meantime, will be without injured guards Darren Collison and Wesley Matthews.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Stood there shaking, try my mind won't get me.
Jeff's email, FSU baseball is in worse shape than the football program. Why? Old coach dumped for a stadium. Goes on to say that Martin is Bowden with spikes on. Hey, David, it's Martin's last year. It's not like they're in need of making a move, and he's not, he's refusing to leave or anything. He's leaving. It's over. You're not going to do anything in the middle of the year.
Well, and he's not Bowden for 2 reasons. One, he doesn't have a title, and 2, he's accomplishing things into his senior years until, like the last season.
Yeah, and we'll see
the
what
book's not written on this
the
one
book's
yet.
not written on this one yet either. They don't look good. No, they're not good. I said before the season that I thought it'd be an interesting year. There are a lot of things at play here, but the point is, it's his final year. He's leaving. So if you're mad, if you're trying to say, "Hey, we got to do something," it's slipping. Martin's not getting it done anymore. Florida State's in bad shape. Well, yeah, okay. So say you're of that mindset. You don't have much to worry about. He's leaving. I mean, this isn't the same where year in and year out, I would come in after another disappointing season and I'd say, guys, I hate to bring this up, but as much as we love Bobby, this program is not operating at peak efficiency. It may be time to move on down the road to somebody else. I mean, if we were comparing the two situations, those were the greater conversations we were having at the time, and there were people who vehemently disagreed, and those who thought, you might be right. I wish there was a good way to do this. It just feels wrong. I'm not so sure. And reasonable people could debate. And it was polarizing. But that's because Bobby didn't plan on leaving. He was never going to leave. He would tell you he was, but then he wasn't. And he would have never left on his own accord. And you knew that, and I knew that. That was the uncomfortable truth of that situation. And so at some point, you had to say, we need to make him. We need to tell him, you're leaving. And let the chips fall where they may. This guy's already announced he's leaving. He is gone. So you can say if you want, just because it makes you feel better in your cars or at your computer or when you're listening back to this on a podcast, yeah, I should have done it 8 years ago, Cameron. Whatever. Okay. Feel better? He's leaving now. He is. This is it. So take a deep breath No sense in emailing me about what we need to do. He's leaving. He's leaving.
I'll amend one thing in your timeline. I think you're telling mostly the truth here, but when you said you'd congregate after the season is over and let people know about Bowden and, we weren't operating at peak, I think you did it during those seasons.
Oh, no. I did it all during the season.
I know you to be a guy that might do it on a Monday after a football
I did
game.
It frequently, yes.
I don't think you're waiting until December.
No, I did it a lot, even when it was, in some people's minds, way too premature. But anyhow, the point would be, now listen, if Coach Martin had just signed like a new 4-year deal or something and things felt this stagnant.
4 years, $10.5 million.
If you were having this conversation like there was no end in sight. And again, I think you can have a discussion about whether or not you'd be at a place to where you'd want behind closed doors to start saying, hey, we'd like to move on. Help us achieve that goal. We want to treat you with dignity. We want to treat you with the respect earned as a player and an alum and as a great coach for 4 decades. We want to do that, but we most certainly do want to move on. And then you would begin the conversation. But we're not in that situation because that's already been decided. We're moving on. Now, I said a couple weeks back, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I posited on the air to you, if they have a simply disastrous season, and I certainly hope that's not the case. Right now, they're not off to a good start. They're middling at best, and they are playing the easier part of their schedule, so there's reason to be concerned. But I thought if they had a disastrous season, could that inform the decision to hire Mike Martin Jr.? Could that change their minds? Because in my opinion, and there are people I'm sure who differ with this, but in my opinion, this is a foregone conclusion. Mike Martin Jr. will be the next head coach at Florida State, I think. The only thing that I think could affect that possibly is if this thing goes off the rails this year, because that would then affect the way he's viewed. And it might muddy up the waters.
By even those in his corner.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think that could muddy up the waters a little bit. And even then, I still think the odds are that Mike Martin Jr. will be the next head coach. And I've said that for a long time now. So I don't think that changes. But the only way that it could is if this goes really south. If they are just awful and they finish in the lower third of the conference, they don't host in the postseason, they continue to look as lost as they are now. And even then, having said all of that, would you be able to lay that at the feet of him? No. But would people? Yes. Would people, I think, would that cause them to have doubt? I think possibly, sure. But if we're going by the finances currently of the situation with Florida State, I think he's the next head coach.
Well, I think it's plain as day that what you've seen out of this program the last 5 or 6 years, the talent you've seen come in here and the talent that got it done to the point of ACC titles or when, things looked really dark, we flipped it around. Any talent you saw, really? Like any of it?
Yeah, that was Junior.
Yeah.
No, he's
on the road and been operating at a deficit compared to in-state schools.
Without question. And he's worked really hard, tirelessly, and it's affected him personally. It's affected his career. It's affected, and listen, that's okay. It's a passion, right? He played here. His dad is a legend.
Sacrifices to live the life on the road, man.
It's
doing
tough,
some stuff.
right? I have thought for a long time he deserves to be the next head coach for a lot of reasons. And we've voiced those as well. I'm just talking big picture. We're spitballing here about the kinds of conversations that are had with far more influential people than me. I don't get to decide who's the next head coach of anything. I can certainly give my opinion on a daily basis on these airwaves, and we can all kick it around, but there are money people. There are significant contributors to Florida State baseball and Florida State football, and these are people who are weighty in their influence.
You could stroke an ESPN radio check their way, and I'm sure it would get their attention with the money you get from that microphone.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there are bankers and lawyers and such that have done quite well for themselves, that have a much greater sway and say in what will happen next. And I think those individuals are inclined to side with Mike Martin Jr. And again, I don't know what it would take for them to maybe rethink that, and I'm not saying they should. But my guess is, and this is true of sport in general.
30 losses?
Yeah, I mean, this is true across the board. It doesn't matter if you have a personal connection and you love a school or have an affinity for a program or whatever it might be. Bottom line is, sports are an in-game sort of thing, right? This is what have you done for me lately? Are you winning or are you losing? And the whys and hows of it, the average fan really doesn't care about. I mean, if you're just thinking about whether or not a program is successful or not, you can get into the weeds with, well, this guy wasn't set up for success. It's not his fault that the locker room was this or that. Like, we had these conversations last year with Willie. But the reality of the situation for Willie is this. It doesn't matter that Jimbo left this thing in a mess. It doesn't matter that they lost 6 games the year before Willie got here and Jimbo was 5-6 in his final season and had allowed for the locker room to become fractured and had allowed sort of, I guess you would just say, certain rules to be ignored and the program to run amok and all these sorts of things, whether it be the classroom or the locker room or whatever it might be. Accountability was thrown out the window in his final 2 seasons. That's what Willie walked into. You can say all of that, and that can all be accurate. But I also know this. Nobody cares. It's like the president's stuff, right? Any of the presidents, any era of president, right? So say the previous regime did this, and this that was good, and this, and this that was bad. That's what you inherit. Some of those things are going to work to your benefit. Some of those things are not. The second you begin to blame everything on the previous guy, whether that's Obama blaming Bush or Trump blaming Obama, people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that. You're there now to make the changes necessary so that this runs properly. And that's true of Willie Taggart. So he comes here on the heels of Jimbo screwing things up the last 2 years. It became a nightmare, right? And a lot of things happen behind the scenes that the average fan doesn't know about. But they don't care. We were 5-7, and we looked like a disorganized mess. And he knows that. He knows that. And he can lament it on the back porch with loved ones all he wants. And I mean, I say that because that's what I do. Like when I'm mad about something or when you're mad about something, you bring your loved ones, you talk to your wife, your girlfriend, whoever it is. You know, if I didn't have to do this, this, and this would be better. But nobody cares. At the end of the day, when they flip on the radio, they want to make sure, is the station sounding good? Are these shows worth me listening to? Should I advertise or not? That's all that matters, right? And we know that. We know that. And in baseball, if you suddenly just start losing a ton of games in the final year and your name is his, yeah, it could affect the decision makers.
Well, at some point, you have your Charlie Strong in Kansas moment. It's like, Charlie, there were a lot of obstacles here. And I think some of my peers in the booster community are included in those obstacles. And I'm sorry for that. But we lost to Kansas. And so,
Charlie, Kansas.
I know you took the golden helmet from Oklahoma that one year. I'm going to need that helmet. Or whatever, the golden cowboy hat, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is there a name for that thing?
We lost to Kansas.
Yeah, we lost to Kansas.
Let's get back to us losing to Kansas. Kansas, Charlie.
They had a rhinestone belt head coach.
Yes, and a cooler that would beg for mercy. So
and we lost to them.
Kansas. Yeah, so it would take, I don't know if you want to put a magic number on it, but if they don't make the postseason.
It's a magic number for the detractors. Come on.
Oh,
if we're going to tank.
Well, you would just say if they didn't make the postseason. If they didn't make it to the postseason. I mean, good Lord. Even then, Tom, I don't know. I don't know that would be enough for them to go a different direction, to make a change.
Because they don't have the money to go out in the open market and grab somebody for $1.2 million to $1.3 million.
I also don't know how wise it is to be paying a college baseball player $1 million. I mean, college baseball coach.
I'd pay a player right now if he was a pitcher.
Dominant pitcher who would probably blow his arm out because baseball's fickle. But here's what I'll tell you. I mean, they're paying that guy at Louisville $1 gazillion dollars, and he ain't doing a damn thing. I mean, he wins games, but they haven't done anything special. They're not, that doesn't – baseball's weird, and the truncated way in which they decide a national champion in a tournament out in Omaha is also weird. It's worked out for Florida. They're having a bad year, but he has won them a national championship. But
I feel like college baseball should be the ultimate sport in college where you hire a bag man, right? Because anybody can run a lineup out there. If you have a couple of coaches who, they work the infield, they do whatever the drills. I mean, you're managing a bullpen, you got a lineup going out there. Your best night, especially with a DH. It's like managing in the American League.
Right.
Just hire the bag man. You may as well. It's more efficient. At least in basketball, you got to, get a little bit more in the weeds. In football, certainly you have to get a lot more in the weeds. But, maybe there's a guy who's connected in the high school baseball scene in the state of Florida.
Well, I am certainly going to reiterate this and say that I am not writing them off. I've seen too many years where we've played poorly to start a year or had a stretch in the middle of the season that left you wondering how on earth are they going to turn this around, etc., only to see them do it. And that, in many ways, speaks to the legend of Mike Martin, that at times he's at his best when he fields a team that is deficient. When he's fielding a team with low expectations or minimal prospects, they seem to achieve and certainly play above their head. That's why they avoid the disastrous season, is that they do more with less over the course of his career. When he's gotten in trouble, and I say in trouble, where he's disappointed in the minds of some, is when he's got a fully loaded team, a team that has a Jeremy Morris and a J.D. Drew or has top-notch arms, and you think, well, now this team is the one, and they would go out there and go 0-2 and Q. And that's where the sport is just silly, but that would happen, right? That's when people would get angry. But it's seldom been the case when he has been limited that they've played down to that. No, they've always played above that. This team is limited. They do not have frontline starting pitching, and the guys they thought they had aren't getting people out. I mean, you could not have guessed that. I know Van Eck was good over the weekend, but he hasn't had a good year, and Parrish has been awful, and you would have thought both those guys were the guys you could count on, and they're not any good right now.
You know what I'm happy about more than anything else at this point is, because I hope Meat gets the job. I think he's been doing much more behind the scenes than people are aware of.
Yes.
Even people who are in favor of the move. That dude's been lifting this program up and doing everything he possibly could to keep us relevant, and we've been more than relevant. We've been really good. But at the same time, I'm just glad these talking points are circular, and they're about the same 5 or 6 every single year because we haven't won the big one, that kind of thing, and underachieving, overachieving. It's been the same things for like 10 years. And so at least next season,
it'll be a new
even if it's Martin Jr., it's going to be a bit more of a discovery process than, everybody just kind of wait until the end of the year to get angry because we didn't win it again, the whole thing.
Yeah, but I think that has matured, and I know we're up against it here, but I think that talking point has changed some too. I think people are hip to the idea that if you're hanging your hat on, hey, we win a national championship or else the season's a failure, you're doing it wrong as a baseball fan. I know ultimately you'd like to win one. Yes, that is the goal, and it looks like maybe his career will end and that won't have happened. He's won everything else there is to win but that, and that stinks. That's a shame. And lesser coaches have gone on to win it. But the point would be in the way that they decide a title and how long the season is and how it can be that you just lose 2 games in a tournament and you don't win it all, it's really kind of silly.
I think you're giving the fan base too much credit.
The vocal minority is who I'm saying is doing it wrong. I think the majority of this fan base who aren't vocal understand that. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Ira Schoffel joins us next.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Tip to the cutting of the nets. Come see why Tallahassee loves the corner pocket.
Oh, my goodness!
Want your office to shine like never before? The New Century Cleaning Services is your next call. New Century Cleaning Services is celebrating 20 years in Tallahassee, partnering with businesses big and small, from universities and banks to doctors' offices and radio stations. New Century Cleaning Service is licensed, insured, and all employees are bonded. They clean 1 million square feet of commercial space per day and feature carpet treatments, floor waxing, and general office cleanup. Plus, they can supply you with paper products, soaps, and sanitizers, too. To help your office step into the 21st century, call New Century Cleaning today at 894-6226 or visit newcenturycleaning.com. That's newcenturycleaning.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Spring is coming, so don't let your lawn care to-do list get the best of you. At Land Care Equipment Sales and Service in Tallahassee, see all the amazing committed-to-the-cut grasshopper mowers, featuring best-in-class, built-to-outlast, true zero-turn mowing. Free up more of your time using your grasshopper for year-round lawn maintenance, from mowing to mulching and everything in between. So whether you're a pro or just want to mow like one, make your next mower a grasshopper. See them at 4211 Capitol Circle Northwest, or check them out at lawnmowerdealer.net.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. The Red Sox signed shortstop Xander Bogaerts to a 6-year extension with a vesting option for a 7th year. ESPN's Jeff Passan reports Bogaerts will make $132 million over the 7 years he's currently under contract for. Yankees outfielder Giancarlo Stanton's landed on the injury list with a left bicep strain. He's the third Yankees outfielder to go on the injured list already this season, joining Aaron Hicks and Jacoby Ellsbury. Clint Frazier's being recalled to replace Stanton on the active roster. With Duke's season over, the focus for megastar freshman Zion Williamson, his future. Williamson said yesterday it's a high possibility he's played his last game in college, but nothing official. He is the projected number 1 pick in the draft, can play any position in the NBA, but his talent won't necessarily translate into an immediate turnaround for wherever he lands, notes ESPN college basketball analyst Seth Greenberg.
He can play in the high post. You can post him up. He can rebound the ball on the defensive end and initiate the fast break. Here's the thing. He's going to be drafted by a bad team. And he's going to be asked to do a lot. And he's not taking that team and taking them to the playoffs, even with free agency. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a terrific player at the next level, but there is going to be a transition period.
Our Seth Greenberg. NBA, no Jimmy Butler for the 76ers against the Mavericks tonight. He's out with back tightness. Philly will be without center Joel Embiid as well due to rest. Dallas rookie Luka Doncic dealing with a bruised right thigh. He will not play. Pistons forward Blake Griffin will sit out a second straight game against the Pacers tonight because of a sore left knee. Detroit currently a half game up on Brooklyn for 6th in the Eastern Conference. Indiana, meantime, will be without injured guards Darren Collison and Wesley Matthews.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
to Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello, good Monday. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free, always. If you missed portions of the show, fret not, friends. All 3 hours posted every day. When the show ends, we throw it up on iTunes. We throw it up on the website and on the free WTSM app. So go back, get caught up at your leisure. Email us if you want, jcs@979espnradio.com. Hope you're well, YouTubers. Same to you, Periscopers. My man, Ira Schoffel, warchant.com, has been busy. I think he's been run ragged. He's probably under the weather. I think he's just fighting through it to be with us. That's the kind of guy he is. It's kind of pro that we expect on Mondays. Hello, Ira. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Jeff. I'm doing a lot better than I was the last couple of days. I was four long flights across this country and sharing germs with everybody that I came in contact with. I'm a little bit under the weather, but I've come through the other side.
You sound like ass, but you're a trooper. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, I've been doing it, too, for a week and a half, and I didn't even have to travel to get sick. I got to stay right here, buddy. But you did travel, and you brought us great reports from your many locales. I guess if you want to, since we haven't had a chance to talk about it, let's summarize everything. Obviously, the tournament was thrilling again over the weekend. It's a little disappointing to be watching those games without Florida State there, especially because you see teams that you know Florida State can play with and or beat. But at the same time, it's impossible to categorize this season as anything other than a rousing success. I guess your thoughts after having a couple of days and some time to reflect on what you covered, what you watched in this postseason tournament, and what we saw from this team, and I guess look forward a little bit to next year as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun ride, without question. I mean, if you think back through the course of the season, where at different points, they were kind of counted out 1-4 in the conference, and people were starting to wonder what this team was all about. And then they go on the amazing run that they went on, and get to the championship game of the ACC tournament. And I thought, really the best 40 minutes of basketball I thought we saw them play all year was that second round game against Murray State, where they just were unbelievable. I thought at both ends of the floor really played tremendous basketball against a good team. I mean, Murray State was not a bad basketball team, and Florida State looked great. And, then just kind of ran out of gas. And I think that, it's unfortunate. And I think, you think back to teams that win championships or make magical runs, sometimes you just need a break or two. You need something to go your way. And it just seemed like this team, really for the last few weeks, it was one thing after another kind of working against it. And I think, at the end, it just kind of all mounted and between, the Phil Cofer situation with his father passing and then all the emotions that went with that and not having Nichols and, having some young guys probably not be ready for the moment, that were called upon in that last game. And then, I just think a lot of other things, went into it. The travel, I thought the travel was probably unfair. You look at some of these teams that really haven't had, this isn't to make excuses for Florida State, but just kind of explain how you get in the situation you get in. Some of these teams, never really had to go anywhere in the tournament, maybe 3 or 4 hours one way or the other. And you got a Florida State team that had to go all the way to Connecticut, go all the way back home, go all the way out to California. And, I just think it was a team that if one or two things had gone their way, maybe they would have knocked off Gonzaga and still been playing, but it didn't happen. But like you said, it was a great run, and more than anything, everybody's going to wait and see what Biondu Kabengele does, and he's obviously a huge piece of Florida State's future if he comes back. But either way, I think Florida State's program, what these last 3 years have done is show, I think, that Florida State's basketball program is really on the upswing, which seems counterintuitive when you consider you have a 70-year-old head coach.
Yeah.
But it really feels like a program that's kind of on the rise nationally.
Well, let's talk about that. Obviously, Trent Forrest will have surgery, I think, this week, right?
Yeah.
And he'll be back. Obviously, Phil Cofer will move on, and unfortunately, he was injury-riddled this year, and then at the end of the year, we know about the situation with the passing of his father. But Florida State loses some guys. It's true. They'll lose P.J. Savoy and David Nichols, but Terrence Mann, obviously, you can't look past him, what he's meant to this program as a as impactful a player really as they've ever had in a weird way. You could certainly argue, and Kumaji and those guys. But they get a lot of guys back, whether you're talking about an emerging star like Devin Vassell. You really hope at some point MJ Walker turns the corner. The track record for this, I think for this staff, is that he will. As frustrating as he was this year, and I thought he was bad. He was good defensively. Offensively, he was a bit of a mess. But I guess, A, can you put a percentage chance that Kabengele comes back? I would think that he is, but you might know something different. And then, B, what do you think the roster is going to look like next year? If you wanted to project a starting five, I think we could.
Well, I mean, I think with Kabengele, I mean, really, you know, as his advisors, you know, kind of get a feel for where he's projected. My guess is, you know, he's probably a tweener right now, like late first, early second. Is you know, just from talking to a couple of people, that's kind of what it sounds like. And you know, but he's a guy that, you know, certainly could go work out and you know, impress some people. You know, he's got a very good jump shot. He's got some nice skills. You know, got really good athletic ability for his size. Can do a lot of things. I think, you know, if I was consulting him, one concern would be he saw a lot of double teams, you know, late this season and in the tournament, and you know, he's going to be staring a lot more of those next year at the college level. So you know, you start to wonder, okay, well, am I going to be able to improve my stock if I come back for another year? I mean, obviously, Florida State would love to have him back, and I think, maybe I don't know, maybe it's a 60-40, something like that. I don't think it's a slam dunk that he comes back. I think it's probably more likely that he comes back, especially if he thinks he's got the talent to be a lottery pick. But, you know, it's easy for all of us to say that, you know, come back and be a lottery pick because when none of us really knows exactly how that's going to work out. But if he comes back, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think to me, Trent Forrest is not the best point guard in the country, but I'm not sure I'd trade many point guards for Trent Forrest.
Right.
I thought the way he played really the whole year, not healthy, and just battled night in and night out. And then you watch him, you know, in the second half of that game with just such an inspired performance. It was just really magical. And, you know, I look forward to covering a Florida State basketball team where it's Trent's team. You know, it's he's going to be the senior leader. You know, I think he's one of those guys that brings out the best in everybody. And I think that his what he brings to the table might be part of what inspires, you know, Kabengele to stay, to get to play with Trent for another year. And if that kid's healthy, and if you got Kabengele, then you talk about those young guys, like you said, Vassell and Raekwon Gray, that showed really impressive potential. And then your point about MJ Walker, I agree 100%. I was thinking about this earlier today, that, you know, so many people are kind of like, you know, I've seen so many people tweet or post on our message boards, I'm done with MJ Walker. And, well, first of all, think about what the tools that MJ Walker has, like the skills. What are you going to replace him with? Like, you're going to go, say he were to leave, and then you're going to go sign somebody to replace. What are the odds you're going to get another player with his abilities and not have any of the issues you have with MJ Walker?
Right.
You know, I mean, there's no, you know, it's not like you're going to go out and find Dwayne Wade in the prime of his career. So your best bet is to continue to develop him and develop his game and let him understand kind of how he fits in. I think he was frustrated as the year went on, and I think the team got frustrated a little bit with his play on offense. But you know, there's a ton to work with there. And then, you know, and I think that you're bringing in a couple 7-footers, which obviously helps defensively. You're bringing in, you know, 5-star recruit. I mean, it's again, I mean, Kabengele is the key to it all. I mean, if Kabengele comes back, I think you're a preseason top 15, top 20 team, and I think you're right back in the second week of the tournament at least. If he doesn't come back, it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. But again, with Trent Forrest running the ship, I mean, I would not bet against Florida State anytime soon.
I love Trent. I'm like you. I fawn over his intelligence. Obviously, he's got physical tools, but many of them were limited this year because of that toe injury. But he's such an intuitive, smart player. He figures out ways to aid this team around every turn. And when he had to, he summoned strength there for stretches in which he did physically dominate games. But otherwise, when he could sit back in the cut, for lack of a better term, and really kind of engineer the offense for others and kind of recoup and deal with some of the pain, he did. And he seemed to always know the right times to do both, which will only aid him once he is physically back to being 100%, right? He learned some other ways to beat people this year. And I think that further rounds out an already impressive set of tools for that young man. But, yeah, real quick as we move on, Trent Forrest, Raekwon Gray, and then you throw in, again, I'm just rounding out a starting lineup here, an MJ Walker and a Devin Vassell and a Cobb Gelly. That's a damn nice starting five if it happens.
Well, and the thing about Vassell is, I mean, think about the guys who from year one to year two at Florida State, like kind of the diamond in the rough guys. And I'm not trying to compare Devin Vassell to Cobb Gelly or Al Thornton, but just think about the guys who came in kind of under the radar and then the jump they made from year one to year two. Now, those guys were able to, they weren't thrown into the fire as quickly as Vassell was. But if Devin Vassell, with a full year of working with these coaches and this program, going into his second year, he may take another big jump. It may not just be, hey, this is the same guy you had last year with a little more polish. I mean, he may make a real jump next year. I mean, Raekwon Gray made a nice jump, and he's going to be in much better shape next year. I mean, I talked to him after the game. He was, despondent. I mean, a lot of the guys I felt like were a little bit resolved at the end of the game when they lost to Gonzaga. Just kind of, I think they knew it was the end of the road because they didn't have all their weapons. But Raekwon was devastated. I mean, I don't know if he's ever probably played in his life in a game that meant a lot where he played and struggled as much as he did. And I think he's going to be a guy that really attacks. I've come to like him a lot, the opportunities I've had to talk with him. I think he's going to have a tremendous offseason and will be a big piece for them next year, too.
Well, imagine how quick he is already at 260 pounds or more. Imagine what he is if he's 230. I mean, he's a guy who creates steals at his size already. He can really shoot it. We'll see what he develops as. What do you expect from football this week in the spring game? Is there anything that you think could be done to take a step forward in the minds of the fan base? Or is this just sort of, look, make sure nobody gets hurt. Let's hope the install continues to go well for Kendall Briles in this offense. Defensively, we hear they're ruling the day most of the time. Defenses are ahead of the offense at this point. That stands to reason. But what would you need to see in the spring game this weekend that you think would maybe energize a fan base that I get the feeling is pretty stagnant? I think that until games are won in the regular season, as we've discussed before, there's really not much that can be said. There's really not much that can be championed or leaked to the media that are going to make people go, oh, well, okay, we're turning the corner. I just don't think it's in this fan base right now to trust anything that's coming out of football because, A, we're not allowed to watch it, and B, we were promised a lot of things last year en route to a 5-7 season.
No, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. There's really nothing between the way they played last year and the approach they've taken towards access. Where really they're the only ones that put out any information about what happens at practice, other than 20 minutes here or there, where the media's in. I don't know how they would expect fans to buy in right now. So we'll see. I think individual big plays. If Cam Akers looks like the old Cam Akers, has some really nice runs and makes somebody miss, and shows some elusiveness and maybe some toughness. That would be a positive. I think, everybody always loves, to see Tamarian Terry, make some big plays in the passing game. James Blackman, hit a couple deep balls. I think that'll get people excited. Other than that, no, I think it is going to be what it is. People are going to want to see what this team does, in Jacksonville against Boise State. And, maybe the Hammer concert will get people excited, but for the most part, I'm curious what the crowd's going to be. Again, I don't think anybody's going to walk out of there thinking, okay, they've figured everything out now. It's time to start counting wins next season.
Feel better, brother. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Jeff. See you.
All right, take care. That's Ira Schoffel, warchant.com. There's nothing that can happen.
Could it be a late arriving crowd for the concert?
Yeah, I think that's a distinct possibility. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Look, Hammer came out when I was in school, when I was in high school, and it's and I remember. I mean, back then there were a lot of acts that could really dance. I mean, that was part of the magic, was that they just didn't rap, they danced. I mean, and I remember it was a big deal in my school to see like whatever new thing Hammer was coming up with. People wanted to be able to try to emulate. It's not unlike when Michael Jackson moonwalked and everybody came to school the next day trying to moonwalk. Like, what the hell was that? That's amazing. You know, Hammer did that for a stretch of I don't know, 6-7 years, where the raps were fairly ordinary. Nothing extraordinary. Certainly, you wouldn't put him in the same category as the elite rappers of all time. Like, he's not Rakim. You know, you weren't going to ever confuse him.
Right, he's not Fred Durst. I agree.
So you were never going to confuse Hammer for being an elite rapper, but he was an entertainer, and he was interesting, and he was fun. And so there's nostalgia. There's people my age who will be like, let's go watch Hammer sing Too Legit to Quit, or let's get it started now, or whatever. You know, that's... That would make you smile. I don't think anybody cares about Color Me Bad. I don't know that anybody ever did. And I don't know how much Tone can sing, because a lot of his songs are just date rapey. So I don't know what you do there. The songs, yeah, Funky Cold Medina's about drugging people. Yeah, you kind of can't do that. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the music.
There you go, buddy.
I didn't hit that. Where did that come
from? Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this. We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
April the 7th from 1 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for their 3rd annual Kickin' It for Autism Soccer Clinic in partnership with the FSU soccer team and coaches. This is an event for all ages and abilities. Net proceeds from this event will benefit the FSU Autism Institute. For more information, please visit fsucard.com.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split 1 order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
After 40 years as Florida State Baseball's head coach, Mike Martin Sr. is making this his final season. Join all of us here at Garnet & Gold as we celebrate the farewell tour for the winningest coach in college baseball history with limited edition commemorative baseballs, t-shirts, and caps in stock right now. And while you're here, check out Nike's hot new line of FSU baseball jerseys, tees, and ball caps. Garnet & Gold with 3 locations, West Pensacola Street, Collard, and Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
Hobbit American Grill, voted 2018's home for the best wings in Tallahassee, is celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. March is here, and it is mad. The Hobbit American Grill gives you a chance to win big with Hobbit March Bracketology. There are 2 ways to play for your chance at a $50 gift card. Join the online challenge by visiting Hobbit West Facebook page, or play in person during every tournament game. Stop into your local Hobbit American Grill today to play. For locations, hours, and online ordering, head to myhobbitonline.com today.
Sumptuously sweet.
White chocolate.
Decadently delicious.
White chocolate.
Creamy white perfection.
White chocolate.
For those who appreciate the finer things.
White chocolate.
Hold on.
When did white chocolate get so serious? Take these M&M's white chocolate candies and M&M's white chocolate peanut candies. It's delicious white chocolate, but in a colorful candy shell. Try them for yourself and see why white chocolate is more fun in color. Available at your local retailer.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the all-new Infiniti of Tallahassee, the newest Kraft Brothers dealership. As we get ready to break ground on the new Kraft Infiniti store, Peter and I thought, why not have a founding 50 with lots of cool stuff for 50 special buyers? And when we say special benefits, we mean it. Here's just some of what you'll get. Free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime powertrain warranty, and free gas fill-up with factory-scheduled maintenance. I told you this was special, and there's more. Free car wash and loaner cars, a gold license plate frame, and a commemorative brick at our new store. Plus, my favorite, the white glove treatment with front-of-the-line service priority. It's Tallahassee's first truly VIP car buying and servicing experience. So if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle, you need to look at Infiniti of Tallahassee. Seriously, no haggle pricing, and every time you come in for factory-scheduled maintenance, we change your oil for free, wash your car, and even fill it up with gas. It's Infiniti of Tallahassee's founding 50, so prepare to be pampered. Infiniti of Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Made me nervous. Come on, Calvin Galley, where are you going? Where are you going?
Yeah, that didn't sound certain, did it?
No.
I guess
man.
They can't do the combine and test the waters, right?
Yeah, they can go out there and get assessed and be given a grade as to where they think they'll go and then decide to come back.
There's enough film on teams successfully denying him access to the basket, though, that I think that there is enough to – and I mean that seriously, not just tongue-in-cheek that we need him back. But I think there's enough out there that would, poke some holes in his game that he doesn't go lottery. And that should be enough to get the job done, right?
Well, that I don't know. See, that's the thing. He doesn't have to go lottery necessarily. He could just be back into the first round, and he could say, yeah, I'll go. I'm going to be a first-round pick. There's only 2 rounds of the NBA draft, but it's not quite the same as football, obviously. But if you go in the first round, you make a little bit of money, and you start your pro career, and I think we all know he's only going to get better and better. And The big difference is, though, obviously, if you are, let's say you're projected to go back into the first, 25th, 26th, 24th, whatever, somewhere in there, and you got a chance to go top 8 if you come back and have a dominant season. Now, he has to assess what Ira noted is correct. He's going to get double-teamed. People know Cobb and Galley. They know that guy's a force to be reckoned with, and the game plan will be to stop him. But I think if the team is as described, meaning – obviously, a healthy Trent Forrest, an emerging star in Devin Vassell, a much better version of MJ Walker, of which we've seen glimpses, by the way. I have not washed my hands of the young man at all. He was a lost soul this year offensively. I think he lost confidence somewhere along the way. And even then, you'd still see some flashes. But by and large, he really struggled on that end, made poor decisions, began to force it. But it never really affected his defense. He still defended exceptionally well. He gave great effort. So I'm not turning my back on him. I think there is enough skill there. To me, and I'm not an expert. Obviously there are really good coaches on this team who are going to know far more than I do about what he needs to do. But if you will, I have watched enough and seen enough of player development here over time to know he's got to do a lot better job on the bounce. His dribbling gets him in trouble. He falls in love with. It's like he shakes himself there's always 2 and 3 and 4 moves instead of one quick and let's go to the basket. And as you elevate in competition, when you decide to cross over and you get a guy off balance, you got to go. But he'll cross over, cross back over, behind the back, and back over again, and a guy kind of rights himself, and you draw attention, and usually it ends up a nightmare.
Speaking of this, has nothing to do with MJ, but watching yesterday's games, speaking of adjustments, this one was a forced one because of contact. Did you see that kid with the reverse layup from Michigan State because he got hit going up midair towards the basket?
Yeah, that's good.
And his back ends up facing the basket and it goes in?
Yeah.
That's something out of a video game when you turn it off.
Yeah, you're like, well, come on, that's ridiculous. Yeah. No.
There were 3 or 4 baskets like that last night. And MJ can turn in highlight reel after highlight reel. It's just they seem to be about 5 weeks apart.
Yeah, they're spaced
and they're
out.
isolated moments in a game instead of the better part of a game.
Well, and yes, they are in stretches of 8 minutes at a time, maybe. And even then, they became fewer and further between as the season went on. And I should never be looking at MJ Walker as a guy that as soon as he catches the ball, I recoil. You know, we were at the end of this year, if we were in our offense and we were having to pass the ball around on the perimeter, if it got halfway through the shot clock and he had the ball in his hand, I thought, oh, this ain't going to end well. And that's not – he's too talented for us to be looking at him that way. But sure as hell, I could hear my sentiments being echoed throughout Seminole Nation as he caught the ball late in the shot clock. You'd go, here comes a bad decision. Here comes a forced shot. Here comes him getting stripped. Here comes something that's not going to work out for our benefit.
Well, here's what says it all. You're in Anaheim, Sweet 16, down 4 with the ball, 4 minutes to go. He touches it on that possession. He never should. He never should touch the ball on that possession.
Well, and when he did, the decision he made was ridiculous. And we got lucky because it ends up getting taken out of his hands. It goes to Vassell, who forces it. But neither of those two guys.
Everybody was out of control in that possession.
But it started with him, the avalanche of out of control. And it's just anyhow, we're picking on the kid now because I've already said my piece on him.
I'm not allowed to pick on him.
Well, you can pick on him, but I'm saying the point is we're adding. I mean, we know what he was at the end of the year, which wasn't very good. He didn't help matters. I felt more comfortable with everybody touching the ball but him. So
you're picking on him.
He's too good. He's too good to be that guy. I think there's a skill set there that suggests they can do a lot of work with him. And this is the best news. We've watched players become something that is the antithesis of what we saw them to be a year ago, 2 years ago. I mean, whether it's an Alexander Johnson many moons ago who was a doughboy, who was just a fatty in the paint, not doing anything, lacked aggression, lacked strength, lacked touch, lacked feel. And the next thing you know, he's lean and he's dominant and he is dunking on people and he's playing with great emotion and focus. He's got the best body he could possibly have. He got himself into shape. They found a way to reach him and develop him. Al Thornton, his freshman year, scored 2 points a game. Who would have ever guessed? By the time he left, that guy was posterizing anybody and everybody, including the upper echelon players and teams in this league.
Ryan Reed was drafted.
Yes.
In the NBA draft.
Yes, and a guy that actually contributed in his final year in a way where when he caught the ball, that little line drive baseline shot that he'd always hit, it was the ugliest damn thing you ever saw. But you'd look up and go, man, Ryan Reed went 12-5. Okay. So they have found ways over the years, and they've done it with countless bigs. They've done it with a lot of guys.
Yeah, XRM became a distributor of some sort.
So I believe he'll get better. He'll become a better player. How much he grows, I don't know, but he doesn't have to be the man. Vassell's already going to be better than him. That we know. Vassell probably is already better than him. So Vassell, I think, can be a star. Trent is a star when he's healthy. And if Kabengele comes back, forget about it.
Well, they like the trees that are coming in, too.
Yeah.
You got a couple of 7-foot-plus kids, and there's no ruling. I mean, you know, we'll see how we would like to roll. There's a lot of wings that we do have, and that's the modern-day game. And I get that. But a part of our program is, all right, well, if everybody wants to be a combo guard this and a stretch for that, well, if you're not going to take the 7-footers, we are, because I know that we can play some zone and mix some stuff in there where we can affect shots at the rim. And you know what? This isn't the NBA, so there's not 48 minutes a game.
Right.
Let's take the 7-footers. Well, if you have a chance to play 2 of those guys out there at a time, one at a time, with Fee, maybe that changes things in terms of the matchups, the doubling you can do on 25, and if he works on his jump shot a little bit and also his perimeter defense. That's the thing for Fee. If he's going to be a combo player, he's got to be much, much better as an on-the-ball defender. He's way too out of control. His fundamentals are not there. He can get burned by very easily.
Yeah, well, and he fouls too frequently.
But if you're going to be playing at the next level, you've got to be able to account for yourself as a combo player on both sides of the court. And right now, he wouldn't stand a chance defensively in a man-on-man situation. So maybe that's what he comes back for.
I like it. Let's find the holes in that kid's game and rip his ass for the next couple of weeks. Let's do it.
Kind of like an arbitration process. You love him, you want him back, but,
Hey, Fee, don't listen to the show for the next however long here, man, while you're getting assessed. We see lots of problems in your game. I really don't even think you're close to a first-rounder. You may not get drafted next year. You may need to stay for 2 more years and develop a lot more in your game, sir. We may need you here at FSU for 2 more full seasons, fully invested seasons.
Get some insurance on your pro contract, and there you're covered. You're covered.
Well, one last thing on that as we put a ribbon on it. I like that, and I'm assuming he comes back. One thing that emerged in this tournament as we look at the Final Four, okay? So Auburn and Texas Tech have never been to the Final Four. They're both there now. You look at a team like Virginia, an experienced team. They get back to the Final Four, first time since '84. There they are. And then Michigan State, who's frequently, in that group at the end. Now, it's been a long time since they won that national title back in 2000, but they're always in the mix, right? The thing that stands out, experience. Tons of experience. These are very experienced teams, veteran leadership, togetherness. They've played together a long time. So Florida State, when you lose the caliber of a Terrence Mann and you lose some of the guys that, Phil Kofer obviously been here for 30 years. When you lose guys like that, you think, it's going to be tough. But if you get back what we think they're going to get back, you'll go into that tournament again as one of the more experienced teams. Think of all that Devin Vassell and all that Raekwon Gray and all that MJ Walker and Kabengele and Trent Forth, all the games they've played in this year and last.
And you're kind of reloading because you've got 4 core pieces that are coming in that are going to be off the bench or maybe one will be starting for us.
And you'll get them experienced. And so that's where he's
got
it.
Program.
That's where he's got it going, baby.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Days at 1 p.m. on our new home in Tallahassee, 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
It's springtime in Tallahassee, and that means we're enjoying the best weather this city has to offer. That's why now's the time to hit the deck. That's right, the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee. From the folks who brought you Metro Deli, the Deck Pizza Pub is Tallahassee's home for the best Neapolitan pizza, along with the best craft beer and drink specials in town. Enjoy college night specials on Monday, legislative age specials on Tuesday, and happy hour Monday through Friday, plus all day Saturday. The Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee, the old Po' Boys location off College Avenue. Hit the deck this spring.
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
What's up, Eddie?
What's up, Jeff?
You know, buddy, that I like archaeology, right?
Yeah. I'm quite an anarchist myself.
Right. Well, anyhow, do you know what they find the world over when they excavate? You know the item they find the most of?
I don't know, rocks?
Freaking bowls.
Bowls?
Bowls everywhere. In Rome proper, right? Bowls upon bowls upon bowls.
That's very interesting.
What's the high school over in Jacksonville, the one with all the good football players?
Bowls?
Right.
What are you getting at here, Jeff?
Mo used what to cut his hair?
I don't know, Jeff. What is a bowl?
Boom. A bowl indeed.
Hey, that gives me an idea.
Really?
We should have bowls here at Gordo's. We can do all kinds of bowls. We can do chicken bowls, fish bowls. We can do steak bowls, pork bowls, veggie bowls. Brilliant. I'm a genius. Jeff? Hey, Jeff.
Save the dates. Jerry's Famous Cigar Shop has rounded up some big names for the second annual Cigar Festival, April 11th through 13th. Meet Rainier Lorenzo of HVC Cigars, Danny DeFabio of Rodriguez Cigars, and Carson Sereno, owner of Sereno Cigars. Walk away with free cigars, great swag, and memories to last a lifetime. The second annual Cigar Festival is at Jerry's Cigars, April 11th, 12th, and 13th. Find out more at jerryscigarshop.com. Tallahassee's #1 destination for cigars.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Hi, this is David at Deep South Kawasaki. Tax time is here, and Deep South Kawasaki wants to pay your tax. Yes, that's right. Choose any new 2019 Kawasaki Brute Force ATV or any new motorcycle in stock, and Deep South Kawasaki will pay the tax. Offer ends March 31st, 2019, so don't miss out. Get a new Kawasaki today, and we'll pay the tax. Deep South Kawasaki, located on US 19 South in Thomasville. Read your owner's manuals and all product warnings. Kawasaki ATVs with engines of 90 cc's and above are recommended for use by persons 16 years or older. Kawasaki also recommends that all ATV riders take a training course.
Rich Eisen here for Honda. Spring is here, which means it's the best time to visit your local Honda dealer for the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event. You can get a great deal on the Accord and Civic, which both come standard with Honda Sensing, and its suite of driver assistive and safety features to help you alert you to things you might miss on the road. They both offer thrilling performance thanks to their available turbocharged engines, and the available paddle shifters help make every drive feel sporty. So make sure you visit your local Honda dealer today.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. The Red Sox signed shortstop Xander Bogaerts to a 6-year extension with a vesting option for a 7th year. ESPN's Jeff Passan reports Bogaerts will make $132 million over the 7 years he's currently under contract for. Yankees outfielder Giancarlo Stanton's landed on the injury list with a left bicep strain. He's the third Yankees outfielder to go on the injured list already this season, joining Aaron Hicks and Jacoby Ellsbury. Clint Frazier's being recalled to replace Stanton on the active roster. With Duke's season over, the focus for megastar freshman Zion Williamson, his future. Williamson said yesterday it's a high possibility he's played his last game in college, but nothing official. He is the projected #1 pick in the draft, can play any position in the NBA, but his talent won't necessarily translate into an immediate turnaround for wherever he lands, notes ESPN college basketball analyst Seth Greenberg.
He can play in a high post. You can post him up. He can rebound the ball on the defensive end and initiate the fast break. Here's the thing. He's going to be drafted by a bad team. And he's going to be asked to do a lot. And he's not taking that team and taking them to the playoffs, even with free agency. He's going to be a terrific player at the next level, but there is going to be a transition period.
Our Seth Greenberg. NBA, no Jimmy Butler for the 76ers against the Mavericks tonight. He's out with back tightness. Philly will be without center Joel Embiid as well due to rest. Dallas rookie Luka Doncic dealing with a bruised right thigh. He will not play. Pistons forward Blake Griffin will sit out a second straight game against the Pacers tonight because of a sore left knee. Detroit currently a half game up on Brooklyn for 6th in the Eastern Conference. Indiana, meantime, will be without injured guards Darren Collison and Wesley Matthews.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Good looking out. Mick Jagger going to surgery on a heart valve.
Yeah. I saw that in conjunction with the Jazz Fest announcement.
Yeah.
And, postponement of everything.
Good luck to Mick. So, let's read these tweets. At Jay Cameron Show. At _Tomlin. Ryan writes, 9 innings of coach pitch. Who you got? The softball team or the baseball team? Hashtag a-hole. Well done, Ryan.
Hashtag a-hole.
Yeah, right now I think there would be some prodigious shots hit by Florida State on the diamond on college baseball, but the consistency would lie with the softball team. You know, you got a couple guys on that baseball team that can hit it a long way when they actually hit it.
So if you want to do the old self-deprecating humor, you can say about the spring game that we're going to go 500 in it, which is an improvement over last season.
Yeah. So yeah, no, that's I get it. I understand. Kind of frustrating. I got it. I don't know. I mean, I've commented in the way that you would about a team up to this point that has played this poorly. It's funny, I got tweets over the weekend when we were in the midst of our poor performances on the diamond against BC, and people thought, you know, man, there are some really ugly stats in ACC play so far this year. Before that last game when we got beat 8-0, which didn't aid the statistical analysis for the better. But I think at the time we had played, 14 games in the ACC. We're 6-8. We had committed 25 errors, almost 2 a game. We had given up almost 8 runs a game. We'd given up more than 9 runs on 6 different occasions. Wow.
Oh, yeah, they're an afterthought too right now. And they will stay that way if they don't improve quickly. People they will shift from basketball to, I don't know, maybe the softball team, maybe golf. Maybe they're just going to go golfing themselves. They're going to go fishing, hunting, golfing.
Well, they certainly they can shift to something else. Right now, unfortunately, we were successfully occupied. We had things to grab our attention and to focus on that mattered much more than a regular season Tuesday night baseball game when the basketball team was running roughshod over the ACC and making a deep run into the NCAA tournament. Now, though, they got to start playing better because people can get a little bit more hyper-focused on this effort.
Especially
what we're seeing here.
If they're baseball diehards and they're just like Knowles and Braves, you know? Because right now, that was a rough weekend for the old Bravos. Now, it's overreaction Monday in MLB circles because everybody looks at the first weekend series and they say, you've got no chance or World Series bound or whatever. But I don't know that those pitching issues at the ATL are going to get much better. Fulte comes back in a couple weeks.
That helps. That helps a lot.
You might need to sign Dallas Keuchel to give yourself a fair fighting chance.
I think Pittsburgh needs to do that.
Every team is saying that.
Yeah.
Oddly, nobody signed him, yet he still holds all the cards.
Yeah, no, Pittsburgh's ready to sweep in there and make a move. I think we'll be all right. That would solidify a pretty good starting rotation anyhow. Trevor yesterday pitching a shutout in Cincinnati, letting the Reds know they can suck.
Oh, Trevor, of course.
Trevor Williams.
Of course.
5-0. You know how much I like Trevor Williams. Like last year, I was coming here, that Trevor Williams looked good again last night. You know, he's been a pleasant surprise, Tom. So we'll see.
Did you guys do okay earlier today?
We're up 5-4 in the night.
5-4.
Yeah, it was a 4-0 game. Cardinals have rallied, but we're up 5-4. We shall see.
Where's Mellon Cone when you need him?
No, I don't want any part of Melanson. We're fine. Velasquez is one of the better closers in all of baseball. We'll be okay there. It's funny. You remember the heart attacks I used to have doing the show with Melanson because of what he did?
Old Mellon Cone.
Yeah, he would get people out, but he would always make it very, very interesting. And we would try to do segments here, and I'm like, okay, he just walked the bases loaded.
Yeah, at least I knew if something happened in my game, your phone would let me know. Bing. Oh, okay. Well.
You know, for you, I specifically went in there and turned the Mets off because I feel bad for having been a spoiler all these years. Like 2 to 3 years in a row, I would forget at the start of the season. I only put you on there out of love. I put the Mets on there. I put the Marlins on there. I put the White Sox on there. I put the Phillies on there. And, of course, my Pirates and my dad's Giants. That was everybody. I didn't have anybody else that I needed to worry about. All of those scores would pop up, but you were, since I'm around you more than anybody else, you were the one who, the spoiler would always happen to.
In the old studio, too, before we had the cameras, which I'm glad we did not have the cameras for the old studio.
I have to admit to taking great pleasure in your frustrations because I would forget that I had it on.
Of course you did.
And then it would buzz and you'd be like, come on, man.
Of course you did.
But I could sometimes say, do you
hey, man, we got the bags loaded. I'm sure you're like, here comes a beep.
If it was, I always felt, I felt bad about. If the other team had the bags loaded with 2 outs, you're like, we're holding on to a 1-run lead, bases loaded here.
There was nobody out.
And
1 and 2.
And I'm like,
oh my God. The game is at least tied.
Yeah.
And there's no way it's just tied.
Well, sometimes you'd go, it's tied, and I know it's a grand slam, and I'm like, no, it's not tied. That's going to do it. That's going to be.
And the 2-2 from Dylan G is lined into left field.
There's a deep ball to right. And that's not coming back.
Boy, that got out of here in a hurry.
I forgot about Dylan G. We're just on a random.
Dylan, what was the nickname for him, though, beyond Frisbee? It was, I'll have another. Dylan, yeah. I'll have another G.
But he was pretty Frisbee. I mean, we would.
I'll have another. It would be like if Mike McGee made the majors,
Oh, no.
As a pitcher.
Yeah, it was, it's true. I mean, Mike McGee. Man, he was such a clutch hitter, too. And there was a stretch where he could get people out.
He got some big outs for us, yeah.
Just
not against TCU.
Well, but even in that College World Series, if you recall, when we beat Florida and eliminated Florida from the College World Series, that was a line drive.
They didn't have a title at that point.
No, and we kept them from getting one that year. Yes, they knocked them out of the College World Series. But that ball was roped right at the shortstop. I think we doubled him off. I think we ended up doubling him off, and he got a save for that. And I was like, it's one of those, huh? Like, we'll take that save all day long, but it wasn't.
I remember we did a bit about that, the handshake line. You're like, okay. You're like, hey, all right. You walk up to him. Okay. Hey.
Good on you, Mike. Baseball was just baseball. But again, back to this story of the NCAA. I mentioned before the emerging, veteran kind of groups that have reached the Final Four. The Carson Edwards kid for Purdue. Tell me you didn't enjoy watching that guy play.
I knew he was, even from here and in the scouting ahead of our head-to-head matchup, he's just dangerous and he has no conscience. He has zero conscience.
So why do I bring that up? I bring that up to say this.
Hello, Carson.
I'm not so sure, great movie. I'm not so sure that obviously Trent can shoot like that. I am sure Trent can't shoot like that. I am very certain he can't shoot like that. But the kind of confidence and the kind of the way that a kid can take over a game as a guard that you saw Edwards do in this tournament for Purdue is what I think Trent Forrest can do. He just doesn't have the 3-ball, obviously. And he, a lot of people say, well, he doesn't have the mid-range jumper either. He began to develop it, but then he got hurt. So that will, I think, if he'll be more of a scorer, is all I should say. He has figured out a lot of ways to do that. He'll be a scorer next year because he'll partly have to be, but because he's savvy and he is smart, and that is the veteran leader at the point guard. You think about these tournaments all the time. Veteran backcourts carry the day frequently.
If he ever had a Phil Kofer awakening offseason to his perimeter shot.
Just a 15-foot jump shot.
Yeah, he'd be a first-round pick because
I'm not
everything
so sure
else.
He won't be anyhow.
You think so?
Well, if you talk to, it's kind of interesting because I remember the first time somebody mentioned that, and I kind of thought, I don't, you got to score. But I talk to coaches who think his understanding of the game and angles and his facility for setting people up.
He's got a body to handle 82 games, too.
Oh, big time. And he's a strong kid. And we forget the way he elevates around the rim when he's healthy. There are a couple of moments even this year where you got a flash where he's thundering on people, and you go, oh, yeah. But go back to the end of last year. There are plenty of times where he's well above the rim with that body type. He's real strong. Yeah. That's why he was always drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line. He's not that far away from, I think, being a guy that you would say, yeah, the way he can make everybody around him better, if he just gets a little bit more consistent from about 12 to 16 feet, he has the strength to get into the lane whenever he wants. The vision, obviously the way he runs this offense is a far cry better than anybody else we've had trying to run it. And so he really does, I think, have the instincts for it as well. Hamilton has talked about this over the years as you try to figure out our offense, and it's changed some. But a lot of it with the motion offense is making a right decision. There's 3 decisions. None of them are wrong, but one's more right than the others. He's always making the right decision. And we haven't had a lot of people to do that.
You're going to need to lean on he and Fee
and I think
next year.
Vassell's a star.
Just talking about, that little leadership thing that hardens teams and lets them advance in a tournament like this against a bunch of 5-stars.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 that you're going to have to – because, Fee magically now would be an upperclassman, as crazy as that seems. It feels like we're just getting introduced to him.
Plus, they have the requisite what for. Yeah. There's a whole lot of what for in there between those 2. Yeah. Final hour, fourth cup, you sit with.
Double kick drum by the river in the summer. She fell in love with the drummer. Another then another, she fell in love.
Join the FSU Autism Institute on Sunday, April 7th from 1 to 4:30 p.m. for their 3rd annual Kickin' It for Autism Soccer Clinic in partnership with the FSU soccer team and coaches. This is an event for all ages and abilities. Net proceeds from this event will benefit the FSU Autism Institute. For more information, please visit fsucard.com. 97.9 ESPN Radio is a proud partner of the Kickin' It for Autism Soccer Clinic.
Protect your homes, family, and businesses with security and storm protection window film from Truck and Car Concepts.
Hi, I'm Joe Doty. We have over 18 years experience in protecting against Mother Nature. Our security film is resistant to strong winds and broken glass. It also provides an invisible barrier to smash and grab thieves and intruders.
Protect your family with the best from Truck and Car Concepts. 1 block east of Weems Road on Mahan Drive. Call 656-8800. Mention this ad and save 10% off your purchase.
You have to be up in 5 hours. 2 hours. 6 minutes, and you haven't slept a wink. ZzzQuil Pure Z's is a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake with no next-day grogginess. So tonight, try new ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vicks ZzzQuil.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar is your cigar place to relax in Tallahassee. With a brand new location at 926 North Monroe, right down from the state capitol, Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar has a variety of amenities to offer both individuals wanting to come in and relax or a small group that wants to access their conference rooms. Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar is the premier cigar lounge in Tallahassee. Come celebrate their grand opening April 4th from 6 to 10 p.m. Check out the largest humidor in Tallahassee and the Diamond Crown Lounge at Cigars of Tally, 926 North Monroe, just down the road from the Capitol.
March Madness is here. Join Tallahassee's sports monster all NCAA tournament long, from the opening tip to the cutting down of the nets, as our partners in Westwood One bring you all the heart-pounding moments.
Kevin Gilly is there again. We are tied in Nashville.
And madness.
And another one is done. Xavier knocked out by Florida State.
That March has to offer. The NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by Wood and Glass, Pockets Pool and Pub, and by Truck and Car Concepts.
FSU football is returning.
Touchdown FSU!
But before their drive to build a new winning season, Doak After Dark returns with another amazing concert. Classic hits from the 90s hit the stage again as MC Hammer brings his epic throwback party.
Stop. Hammer time.
Also featuring Tone Loc and Color Me Bad, the biggest hits of a generation. See the concert after the FSU spring game Saturday, April 6th. Hammer's House Party Live. Get your tickets now at Seminoles.com.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and only can be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. Going on right now during Jeep Freedom Days. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. ST18J605 must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Chuck Oliver here, and Tallahassee, let's talk college football in the South. Join me every weekday at 1 p.m. right here for wall-to-wall coverage of every big program in the region. Whether it's the ACC or SEC, college football is always on our minds. The conversation happens right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. The Red Sox signed shortstop Xander Bogaerts to a 6-year extension with a vesting option for a 7th year. ESPN's Jeff Passan reports Bogaerts will make $132 million over the 7 years he's currently under contract for. Yankees outfielder Giancarlo Stanton's landed on the injury list with a left bicep strain. He's the third Yankees outfielder to go on the injured list already this season, joining Aaron Hicks and Jacoby Ellsbury. Clint Frazier's being recalled to replace Stanton on the active roster. With Duke's season over, the focus for megastar freshman Zion Williamson, his future. Williamson said yesterday it's a high possibility he's played his last game in college, but nothing official. He is the projected number 1 pick in the draft, can play any position in the NBA, but his talent won't necessarily translate into an immediate turnaround for wherever he lands, notes ESPN college basketball analyst Seth Greenberg.
He can play in a high post. You can post him up. He can rebound the ball on the defensive end and initiate the fast break. Here's the thing. He's going to be drafted by a bad team. And he's going to be asked to do a lot. And he's not taking that team and taking them to the playoffs, even with free agency. He's going to be a terrific player at the next level, but there is going to be a transition period.
Our Seth Greenberg. NBA, no Jimmy Butler for the 76ers against the Mavericks tonight. He's out with back tightness. Philly will be without center Joel Embiid as well due to rest. Dallas rookie Luka Doncic dealing with a bruised right thigh. He will not play. Pistons forward Blake Griffin will sit out a second straight game against the Pacers tonight because of a sore left knee. Detroit currently a half game up on Brooklyn for 6th in the Eastern Conference. Indiana, meantime, will be without injured guards Darren Collison and Wesley Matthews.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Good Monday, everybody. Thanks for tuning to it. I am Jeff. That is Tom. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Go there to listen live via the streaming. Always, if you miss anything, all 3 hours get posted upon the conclusion of the show, both on iTunes and our own audio vault. Fire away with those emails if you like. It's JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. Utilize that WTSM app. Watch on YouTube. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, Periscopers. There you go. We're down to the Final Four. Should be a good one. Virginia facing Auburn on Saturday, 6 o'clock. Michigan State and Texas Tech. Kind of an unlikely group here in this Final Four to some extent. Obviously, we saw some number one seeds get bounced. North Carolina victimized by Auburn, who really was very impressive in their rout of North Carolina, 97-80. And then they went on, obviously, even after injury to the, was it Okiki kid? How do you say his last name? I think that's correct, with the torn ACL. Hated for that kid, obviously. But, man, Auburn has played so well in this tournament, and they looked like the much better team over Kentucky. We saw what Texas Tech did to Gonzaga. I like that Texas Tech team this year. I mentioned that before, that I didn't think Michigan was that good. Had we gotten past Gonzaga, I was really actually hoping to play Michigan instead of Texas Tech. Now you see why. So a couple of teams that have never been to the Final Four, Auburn and Texas Tech, are both there. Virginia kind of avenges last year's humiliating defeat in the opening game of the tournament as a 1 seed. They're now in the Final Four. And we think about the juggernauts of the ACC, and Virginia's the one left standing. Good on you, Tony Bennett. They've won a lot of different ways in this tournament, including scoring a lot of points in some games. So, they're the last one standing if you're waving the flag of the ACC. Frankly, I've just been wildly entertained with so many overtime games, so many last-second wins, so many final possession games. I don't know how you can't celebrate this tournament. It is disappointing that we weren't still playing, but it's been fun to watch, man. Everything from the way that Purdue played, and obviously I mentioned what Auburn's done and how they've played. Michigan State knocking off Duke. And that's the other big story here is obviously Duke with the most heralded freshman class, some would say in the history of college basketball. They come up short. No other way to describe this season, frankly, when you have that many great players, that many top 10 picks on your roster, other than to say it was disappointing. Failure is a bit much when they win over 30 games. I mean, I don't know about failure, but Zion gave us everything that you could want from a freshman. He was a record setter in many areas, and I think he played according to the billing. But to come up short there, again, you get back to something in these kinds of tournaments. Do I think Michigan State would beat Duke in a 4 out of 7 series? I don't. Do I think that they certainly are a very good basketball team that could win the whole thing? I do. Michigan State could. But what's that thing that they have that Duke didn't? Well, a ton of experience. You know how many points Michigan State's freshmen scored in that game against Duke? 4. It's all seniors, all juniors. It's all the upperclassmen that did the work. Auburn, juniors and seniors. Virginia, look what just happened a year ago. By and large, that team comes back, learns from it, veteran group. And Texas Tech is a bunch of veterans too. So really a lot of experience, a lot of veteran leadership. The other three more than Texas Tech, but that's it. That's impressive.
Obviously, you get fewer chances for the Final Four in the championship game, but I am a little bit worried that we reached the peak of what we were going to witness this past weekend just because there's a lot of
games, man. Yeah.
grinded out defensive teams left standing. So there may be some close finishes, but I don't know that there's going to be a bunch of games. Like Auburn, to me, is probably the most lethal. It's the team that could really take your breath away out of the four more than anybody else. But I'm not counting on those types of games. I'm figuring on 65-60 type finals, and maybe not even that if there's not a bunch of free throws being shot. There may be some close finishes, but I don't know that there are going to be games between now and the championship game that you're going to remember for a long time the way we did Villanova, North Carolina for the national championship just a few years ago.
Michigan State and Tom Izzo will get the vast majority of the talking points when it comes to experience in these moments. Obviously, Tom Izzo now, his 8th Final Four. Now, this is the first since 2015. That is rather remarkable. But, Auburn has been a team that you just mentioned would be the hottest of the teams. They've won 12 straight games. Texas Tech is a pretty complete team. They play very good on the defensive end, but they've got scorers too. Virginia is the only remaining 1 seed that's around here. And so, they haven't been a dominating team to get to this point by any stretch. They have been able to just get by time and again. I will say them getting past a Purdue team that was bombs away for stretches at a time and finding a way to score with a second left to tie the game and go to overtime to adapt to change the way the game is played. I mean, that was not the tempo they wanted to play at, and they still won. That's different from previous Virginia teams, right? When they couldn't dictate tempo, they were in trouble. See last year in the first game. They adapted nicely. So, I think most people get excited that there is no Duke, there is no North Carolina, there is no Kentucky. At the same time, people say that, but the ratings will be down because those teams you like to hate watch.
I'm less likely to watch now because those two teams aren't in it. Typically, I have the fatigue like most people, but,
Well, North Carolina was... if you said to me, what are you more shocked by? Carolina getting boat raced by Auburn or Duke falling to Michigan State? It's much more Carolina getting boat raced by Auburn because that Carolina team to me looked like the best team in the conference.
Oh, because they could rebound so well. And what does that do? It gives you all the second chance points in the world. So even when you could shoot 38%, your second chance points could be through the roof. But I, for one, was somebody who wanted to see this year's Duke, North Carolina round 4. That would have been fantastic television. And I think it would have been another really compelling game because all of them were good. Now the first one, I'm sorry, back at Cameron Indoor, once Zion got hurt, that game was over. But rounds 2 and 3
they were good,
very good games. And I wanted to see that one more time because I thought, honestly, of all the teams in the field, those are the ones that can give you an explosive game and a game, again, that you remember for a long time. I don't know that Virginia, Texas Tech, or whatever, however the bracket can work out from here on out. I don't know.
Well, it could be Auburn, Texas Tech, and I wonder what the ratings would look like then.
I don't think very good.
Good game though, real good game. I mean, I'm going to watch because these are compelling teams. I'm less impressed, I suppose. I mean, I ought to off the cap, and I certainly respect what he's done in his career and how good a coach he is. But Michigan State, I'm really kind of surprised they're there. I know they were a 2 seed. I just thought from a standpoint of kind of gauging about a handful of teams, 6 to 8 teams, I would have had them on the outside looking in. So give them credit.
Michigan fans are saying, yep, this is what we had to deal with all damn year. These guys. They're annoying. These are the teams that got out and got to the Final Four. They're going to Minneapolis. Teams that kind of grinded out, a little bit annoying. You think about what Texas Tech did this past weekend. Obviously, the first game's a blowout, but it's just defense. It's defense that gets the job done, and then you generate enough offense going the other way. I know that Virginia took Purdue's best punches.
Auburn can score, though. Auburn can score. I mean, that's...
They can, but you look at what they did to deny what Kentucky wants to do consistently. I mean, some of the shots that the Wildcats had to make in that second half.
Just to be in the game, yeah.
Just to be in the game.
Yeah, just to be in the game.
I mean, the lowest of low percentage.
That's why I'm very stunned that North Carolina is not a part of this group, but that's the tournament, man. And what happens in these tournaments is if you play poorly or somebody comes in with a better game plan than you for a night, you don't get to adjust. You don't get to figure it out. Oh, next week we'll kind of change our rotation or we'll do whatever we do to combat that. No, it's over. Your season's done just like that. So it's hard to win it. It's hard to win it. I mean, the best teams often don't win this thing. We say it all the time.
The one and dones would win a lot more in a best of 7 because then they can adjust and learn.
Right, yeah.
Because their growth curve is obviously a little bit steeper. They haven't hit maturity yet. But in a one-off, you got some guile, you got some grit, you got experience, and you have the constitution to handle under 4 minutes to go in a tie game. It's different.
The only thing I'd say is I was surprised that Zion's not getting shots at the end of that game. I mean, Zion's your best player for Duke. He's been that all year long. He's been a beast. I know they were doubling him, and they were making
7 failed passes into the post in that second half.
I know. You got to find a way, right? There are a lot of questions. I'll be interested to see what comes out of Duke in the next week or so. There are problems off the court there with.
They don't deserve to wear the logo on the shorts.
I forgot about that when he was in the hospital. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
The king of college football, and you can join me every weekday at 1 p.m. right here on Tallahassee Sports Monster. We talk nothing but college football every day from Tallahassee to Tuscaloosa, Athens to Auburn, and everywhere in between. That's the Chuck Oliver Show, weekdays at 1 p.m. on our new home in Tallahassee, 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
March Madness is here. Join Tallahassee Sports Monster all NCAA tournament long, from the opening tip to the cutting down of the nets, as our partners in Westwood One bring you all the heart-pounding moments. And madness.
Here comes Florida State in transition. Forrest to the right side. A three for Savoy for the lead.
That March has to offer. The NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you in part by the Deck Pizza Pub in downtown Tallahassee and by Lane's Medical Supply.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
FSU football is returning.
Touchdown FSU!
But before their drive to build a new winning season, Doak After Dark returns with another amazing concert. Classic hits from the 90s hit the stage again as MC Hammer brings his epic throwback party.
Stop! Have a time!
Also featuring Tone Loc and Color Me Bad, the biggest hits of a generation. See the concert after the FSU spring game Saturday, April 6th. Hammer's House Party Live. Get your tickets now at Seminoles.com.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Want to put a over-under on the aforementioned spring game? Attendance? I haven't, I should call over there. I am going to call over there this week to try to get Coach Taggart on before the spring game, obviously, and hear from the head coach himself about his expectations. Certainly, he has said what coaches say during the spring. The only thing I really looked for with the scrimmage that happened over the weekend was, did we come out of it healthy? So first things first, we did. Florida State's healthy. Nobody got hurt. When you can't see it, when you're not able to watch it, then all you really care about are the bodies necessary to go and compete at a high level going to be in place. And to do that, you have to avoid injury.
I think I said way back in January, probably about 20,000. I don't know. I'd say probably more like 27.5. Maybe that's the over-under. Because I think there will be a good percentage of people, maybe about 3,000-4,000 in the Champions Club, the Lang Memorial, because, air conditioning and the finer things in life. And I think it only costs $50.
It's supposed to be nice, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be nice. But still, you can walk in, walk out at your leisure. Spring games aren't exactly exciting on their face, so you can do some socializing and all that kind of stuff. And I think it only costs $50 to go to the Champions Club. So I would think a lot of people would take up that offer.
Do you take solace with the idea that the defense played really well in this latest scrimmage? You can read into it from everything that Coach said to what James Blackman said to what Cam Akers said. It certainly sounds like, because when you hear people's, I'll give you a quote. Here's one. I feel like the offense could have been a lot better, said Cam Akers. Okay. He went on to say that he thought that they came out and they did a good job of competing. James Blackman went on to say that, we were able to see what we have to work on and build off of. It's good tape for us. So when you have offensive players talking about good tape, or we could have been more consistent, or we could have done better, and you get enough quotes like that, you feel like the defense dominated. Does that bother you, or do you feel good about that? See, defenses should always be way ahead now. So if I'm hearing that the offense is dominating, I'm rolling my eyes, because that means to me they're setting it up so that they can. If we're just going to allow merit to carry the day, our defense should be dominating. You're installing basically some new principles. You're doing some things differently, certainly different terminology. They should be behind the defense at this point, so that's a good thing.
For me, the offense is a tire fire until I see it in the regular season, and it's not a tire fire. That's just the way I'm approaching the offseason. And, of course, the defense should be ahead here. You're absolutely right. If this was any year, not one where you're coming off of horrific offensive production numbers and offensive line play, the defense should still be ahead of the offense. But I don't care. Even in the spring game, they might set up some things for success in the spring game, and your eyes are going to tell you a lie. Because
they're going to have to do that because there are people in the stands.
Right.
They can't,
Yes, it can't be 3-0 in the spring game. People are going to leave at halftime and say, why did I spend $10 to come in here? $10, too much. So for me, the offense is just a disaster, even with the new coaching staff and 5 new offensive linemen, whatever, until it isn't in the regular season. And at that point, I change my expectations.
It has a chance to not be a disaster. I think it can't be much worse than it was a year ago. My suspicion is that it will be markedly better, appreciably better. I think they will be a better unit, but I imagine the defense is going to dominate both the spring as it has and probably early on when we get to the fall, because those are the guys that have the returning starters. Those are the guys that have the system in place. Nothing's really changing there. And if anything, you've got a chance to grow within that. And you've got the addition at linebacker. You're better and deeper at certain positions than you were a year ago. I would suspect that is the group that should be winning. So the fact that they are does not alarm me.
Yeah, the thing I'd say here is that, the offensive line could be better and still be awful, right, in the regular season. So that's the whole thing, is the offense, there may be more organization. There may be a better line of communication between coaches and players, and guys know where to be now and what to do. But if the O-line still is terrible, and it could still be better than it was last year and be classified as terrible, you get hit in the mouth, and that's all great. But it may be a longer-term project. So it may not be. But I'm going to come in with the low expectations. Let's under-promise and over-deliver a little bit.
I don't know why the calendar flipping to April suddenly allowed for me to envision the game in Jacksonville against Boise State, and we can talk till we're blue in the face about what ought to be and what is and what we're expecting. But the reality is I don't know how far along they are. They say install is going well. I'll take their word for it. Like you said, we have no way of knowing. It better be. It better be. I mean, this is a show and prove or that's your ass kind of year. It's just so straightforward. I mean, we've not been in a year that is this straightforward in a long time. Here's the deal. You go out there and lose to Boise State, and this whole thing goes – I suspect this whole thing – I could be wrong. I suspect you go out there and lose to Boise State. Not saying they will, but if they do, the whole thing's off the tracks again, and here we go.
We will cover the spring game in earnest because it is our job, and they can't hide it from us. So those are two good things. But this is very much an afterthought to me. Spring game's an afterthought. You know what I'm thinking about right now? The Cup Finals, or the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Masters. And the spring game's just kind of somewhere between now and then. Honestly, I think a lot of people feel that way. They'll be interested when it's time to turn the game on, and the juices will get going a little bit, but not all that much.
Yeah, it reminds me of the way the spring game was forever. I mean, for a very long time, regardless if we were really, really good or if we were, rebuilding or whatever. Obviously, from the attendance, the spring game was never that big a deal. That's why it was such a big deal that it sold out. Because most of the time, we're kind of like, it'd be nice to have a few pops with our friends on a beautiful afternoon, walk into Doak. We always like doing that.
Walk in, see it, walk back out. Tailgate's a lot more comfortable. Just put that thing on the old watch ESPN.
But then you want to speed through April and get to May and go, woo, it's May, we're getting close.
Come on, Masters.
Jeff Cameron Show, 979 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Will you sit me running?
Did you watch? I didn't ask you earlier. Did you catch the Purdue matchup and how good that game was with Virginia? Were you locked in?
Locked in, no. Highlights, yes. So I know,
The basket with 1 second
the blood
to play.
and guts of the yeah. Well, there was an article today. I think it was SB Nation. They did 1,300 words on the last play alone, just because of how necessary it was.
I was blown away. That game was incredible, and it was just back and forth answers. I think more than anything else, the thing that I've enjoyed most about the NCAA tournament this year is, the teams that won the games, that found a way to win the games, went and took the games. Auburn was just better. They just outplayed Kentucky. They looked like a better team. They played like – I actually was kind of shocked that it went to overtime because it felt like Kentucky was leaking oil.
Yes.
And so when it went to overtime, I thought, you're done.
Can't hit threes till you get down 4 and 6. I mean, you got to put a bunch of twos and stops together, and the way they were going with the 2 guards yesterday, that kid
is fast, man. They are certainly playing better than they played in the regular season. They've earned all of the love that you were mad they were getting
congratulations to the fortune tellers. They got one right.
They got that right big time. And it was, that looks like a team. Well, it's interesting. The conversation about the NCAA tournament is this. It's this way every year. Now, I've enjoyed it. It's been a fun run. The emotions have been running hot. There have been amazing moments, shocking moments, moments where kids rise up and make plays. That's all you ever want to see. The fact that Duke lost, obviously, we all revel in Duke's failures, most of us. One thing to say about that, by the way, there's no way to escape a description of Duke's season as anything other than disappointing. You've got that many guys that are going to go in the first round. You got the player that is a transcendent player, if you will, from a physical standpoint. The whole thing this year was you had to get to the Final Four. You had to get to the Final Four.
Who they refused yesterday to call fouls on. And I get it, especially in that second half. The referees, for the most part, swallowed the whistle. But there were 4 or 5 times in the first 10 minutes of the second half where I go, well, I mean, if you're not going to call that,
right,
you're not allowed to call anything the rest of the game. Period.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, I would think if I'm a Duke fan, I'm downright angry if we hadn't had so many great years. It's also a reminder that the tournament is truncated and that the best team doesn't always win. And I don't think Duke's necessarily the best team. They have the greatest collection of skill that you project to do well in the league for the foreseeable future, true. But you're talking about, again, a quartet of freshmen. I mean, it's hard to win when you don't have a ton of experience. You're going to have a game or two, and they were just skirting by. In truth, they could have been knocked out in that UCF game.
Oh,
I mean, they probably should have been knocked out in that game. So, Cam Reddish situation was interesting. R.J. Barrett situation, a lot of stuff going on there. There's still a lot of talk that there was something going on behind the scenes. People don't know what was happening with this team late in the year, what was happening in the tournament. I just, at the end of the day, you have that many top 10 recruit, 4 freshmen that are top 10 recruits. The expectations are through the roof. And this tournament sometimes can be cruel. Also, it is a reminder that when you have that much talent, if they're all that young, you can get knocked out by anybody. It's not that it got knocked out by anybody. Obviously, Michigan State's good. But they literally could have lost to UCF. They could have lost to Virginia Tech. They've been riding this wave where they're winning every 1-point game.
Well, and if you looked at the bracket pre-tournament, you would have said, most people did, that, wow, this is really sets up easy for Duke. This is about as easy a look at the Final Four as you're going to get. And I was of the mindset that this was a very vulnerable Duke team, not just because of the youth, but
they don't shoot threes.
They don't shoot the 3-ball well. And so when you are down, 6-8 points at any point in a game, you're relying on the referees to get you back in it with foul trouble, whistles there. You need to break tendency and hit a couple perimeter shots. But overall, this Duke team was at times the best team in the country, but at times extremely vulnerable. And the ACC also, in general, after this weekend, vulnerable. North Carolina was considered to be, at least by me, a lock to make the Final Four. That didn't happen either.
They got blown out.
Now you only have one team that actually made the Final Four, where some prognosticators said if Florida State, things break right for Florida State, you could have as many as 4 in the Final Four.
Yeah, and you never want to make the mistake of a tournament then reflecting and saying that a league is bad or good based on a season's tournament, ending of the year tournament. But you're right, it has got to be disappointing for the ACC. I will say this, what wasn't disappointing? Zion's season at Duke. When you look at some of those statistics, he was incredible, set records even. If he hadn't gotten hurt, who knows what some of those other numbers would be. But he's the third freshman to record 500 points, 50 steals, and 50 blocks in a season. I mean, he was sensational.
Well, he hit a couple of threes. Speaking of Duke can't do that, he was the one who hit a couple yesterday. But then I thought one of the things that hurt Duke in that game second half was there were so few whistles for long stretches of a time, and even the broadcast, which was, I mean, the thing is Zion can be awesome to watch, and then the broadcast can make you vomit because they're just going way too far. It's like when Tiger used to have a 20-foot putt at Augusta, and they're like, what a shot by Tiger. That's a really great shot there. Yeah. And then the guy behind him, it's like DeMarco hits it 18 feet away, and they're like, well, that's a very average effort.
Tough putt there.
So that does get old, but they were right when they were saying that he was settling. Because he was out of gas. He's going up and down the court, max effort, and then he just jacks up a three and misses it wildly. Well, that's because, his legs are completely out of gas, and there weren't a ton of whistles in that game.
104 points, 4 NCAA tournament games. It's the second most ever all time by a freshman. So, he kind of probably looks around at his teammates. Guys, I did drop 104 points in 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty good. Second best all time for a freshman. I am so curious. And, I know in the sports talk show world, you're supposed to have a definitive take at all times. And whether you mean it or not, you gotta put yourself out there one way or the other. I'm just more fascinated about what his career is going to look like in the league. Your eyes tell you that people who are built like this, who are preternatural, who look different than everybody else at the same age, who have the skill set that he does to go with the bulk and the quickness at that size, that has to translate. Like, something's wrong with the NBA, in my mind, if that doesn't translate. But I'm not entirely certain. I mean, I do think that in terms of being a superstar, he's projected to be a superstar, right? I do think that there will be guys, Ja Morant, for example, because of the way the game has gone and the way that the game is played now out on the perimeter, that will influence the NBA in their first 2 years more than Zion Williamson does.
Well, if Zion can actually hit a jumper, that may change.
Well, yes, that would change.
But I agree with you. The one thing I look at a body type like that and I say, is it going to break down earlier in his career? I mean, you're putting so much stress on your body being that big that at some point, right? I mean, joints are still joints. Is he 26, 27 years old when he has chronic issues? And is he aging faster? I didn't really ask the same questions about LeBron because even though LeBron looked like he was 40 years old at 18,
well, his face body did, but his body didn't.
Right,
yeah.
His body was still pretty lean, and he had to grow into himself a little bit, and they did, and obviously he turned into like a Mack truck. But Zion is starting out as a Mack truck, so does he go fat? Does he stay lean? I mean, how does he do it? What does he look like 5-6 years into his career, and how does his body respond?
I don't know that we'll ever describe Zion Williamson as anything other than really big. Like, can he be lean? I don't know. His body type, he's a big bone, dude. But relative
using
to his
this
body
as a
type,
baseline.
yeah.
Yes.
No, I would think he would lean out because you got to play 82 games, not 35. You're playing a long season. I would think he would try to get leaner as he gets older, but who knows? He could still be growing in theory. I mean, he's a monster. We've seen big guys continue to get big. Shaq got huge, and he was able to carry it and dominate the Hall of Fame career. Yeah.
Could you see this dude looking like Big Baby Perkins, except he's a little bit more jacked, but he's got a gut, and he's just, he moves people out of the lane, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I can see him as a post player, but I think he wants to be a high flyer. I think he wants to be able – I mean, I've not seen too many people be that big and that nimble. I mean, in the open court, the ability to – and you see it time and again, he'll go behind the back, cut around, rise up. I mean, he's fleet of foot for the size is what I'm saying. He's got quick hands too. I mean, that's what I say. I think it's fascinating. I don't know how to project him. I don't. I think that he won't have the same impact in his first couple of years that the star-level treatment and conversation starter around him suggests he should, right? I think he'll be good, but I don't think he'll dominate the league like he dominated college basketball this year, whereas some guys that we don't talk about as much because the game has changed so much out on the perimeter have a chance to do that. And that will probably then be a talking point. Why isn't he living that? Which is unfair. I think we're going to have to look 5 years from now.
Sure, but I do think if he plays, let's say, 70 games next year in the NBA, gets a reasonable amount of time off. But if he plays 70, I'll bet he goes 20-10 in the NBA 15 times, 20 times next year. I think he can do that right away because there's enough teams, out of the 30 that just aren't good enough. And he'll get a ton of volume. He'll get a lot of chances. Unless he goes to a team like, let's say, the Knicks, and then they have this master plan and they get, 3 really good guys, he may not play enough minutes to go 20-10.
Yeah.
There may not be enough shots if, again, like KD goes out there and they make a couple of moves. But if he goes to a true lottery team and it's a process that they're investing in and they're going long-term here and they're not great next year, don't get a big-time free agent signing, he's going to go 20-10 a bunch in his rookie season.
I don't know how he couldn't get 10 rebounds with that body type, right?
Oh. Well, and the effort, right? That's the other thing, too. I think in his rookie season, he'll be trying harder, in December and January than probably most of his peers.
So we put a ribbon on the career for him and just say this as college basketball fans. Most of the time, kids who are hyped as much as he was as a YouTube star, who are talked about ad nauseum, do not live up to the billing. He did. I congratulate him. I think he lived up to the billing. If he hadn't gotten hurt, who knows what would have happened, but he had a great year. He was sensational, and he was enjoyable. He also seems like a really good kid. I got no problems with Zion Williamson.
Yeah,
I got tired of the announcers, but I don't have a problem with him.
Glad I got to see him play, even if it was for a half here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm doubly glad that he came back. When the shoe blew out and then you're thinking...
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Maybe you stay away and just take your money and go.
A lot of times, you bet handlers told him not to, and he's like, oh, come on. This is what I signed up for.
I appreciate that he did because there were a lot of awesome moments from that point on.
I don't want you to come back, but he was awesome.
Well, the ACC tournament,
that was ridiculous.
Like night after night? Ugh. You got the stamina to do that right away?
I was like, what are we doing here? Damn it, settle down. This is ridiculous. He was great. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Tallahassee, it's Chuck Oliver, the king of college football, and you can join me every weekday at 1 p.m. right here on Tallahassee Sports Monster. We talk nothing but college football every day from Tallahassee to Tuscaloosa, Athens to Auburn, and everywhere in between. That's the Chuck Oliver Show, weekdays at 1 p.m. on our new home in Tallahassee, 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
The madness is coming to the corner pocket.
They're in trouble. Desperation. Yes!
Choose the place with Tallahassee's best TVs. The Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall. 8 50-inch crystal clear flat screens. You won't miss a second of the action. Corner Pocket's your headquarters for the most watched sporting event in America.
For the win! Good! A miracle!
Delicious food, the best drink specials. Connect to their free Wi-Fi and keep up with your bracket. From the opening tip to the cutting of the nets. Come see why Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Yes! Oh, my goodness!
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
Okay, that ought to do it. Thanks, Jessica, for coming over and helping me declutter my home.
You're welcome. That's what friends are for. Ooh, check it out. I found some loose change in this corner.
That is the second time you have found some hidden treasures in my house.
Do you know you can find savings in every corner of your home?
Okay, I'm listening.
You can find savings from the city of Tallahassee. With their 5% interest financing for more than 25 energy-efficient appliances, measures, and systems, you can get a loan for things like outdoor lighting, floor, ceiling, and wall insulation, Energy Star reflective roofing, and even things like gas ranges, fire logs, and grills.
Wait, even on grills? I've been shopping around for a new gas grill. I had no idea, and with it getting even darker, I could use some outdoor lighting. It seems the City of Tallahassee's loan program may be the perfect solution.
Well, just be sure to invite me over the next time you grill.
Of course, that's what friends are for.
Take advantage of the City of Tallahassee's loan program and save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com to learn more. That's talgov.com for more information.
Hey, I'm Jeff Doxey, Realtor for Capital Property Consultants, representing Premier Fine Homes. If you're thinking of owning your own brand new Premier home, call or text me at 850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
At Progressive, we think your handbag business with the reversible top notch is top notch. In fact, there's no other notch at the tippity top your top notch doesn't top. But even at the top, you didn't stop. You copped Progressive Business Insurance. With over 40 years of expertise helping non-stop and top-notchers notch spots at the top. Now, break out your stopwatch and hopscotch to ProgressiveCommercial.com. Because this is one opportunity you don't want to botch. Progressive Casualty Insurance and Affiliates.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Man, it's so nice to be able to go home and know that you can watch baseball as late as you'd like. Stay up late if you please. Catch those West Coast games. Red Sox A's, for example, tonight, if you want it. D-backs, new look Padres tonight. Angels, Mariners, Giants, Dodgers. A lot of late games.
So you know, because we congregated on the phone on Friday after the show, and it was around 8 o'clock, I said, I can't do it. I'm going to be in bed the next half an hour. And I was. So I woke up. My whole sleeping clock was completely turned on its head.
Yeah.
I wake up. It's 2:30 in the morning, and the Dodgers are still playing.
D-backs.
The D-backs. And that game went past 3:45 in the morning is when I gave up. I had to go back to bed for a little bit, but it was still raging at that point.
I like that you invested in something that wasn't your team, which means you're rounding into baseball form, sir. You are starting to feel some baseball already. That usually takes you – I have to admit, now you'll take a respite because the playoffs are about to start in the NHL. So I know you, and for good reason, since the Lightning are the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup, and anything short of that is a disappointment. So we will both be locked in. You are more locked in as you do the podcast there on the Joe Bucks Fan Network there. And the Lightning podcast, for those of you who haven't listened to it, is good. Tom does a good job with it. So anyhow, so you'll be locked in that way. But the fact that you were watching baseball that wasn't Mets baseball already, you're ready for baseball.
I'm more ready for baseball this year than I have been. I think it's nice, though. See, the Lightning are doing a victory tour through Canada and Boston this week. I mean, we've clinched everything there is to clinch.
That's right.
So I can branch out for a week and take some time off. I mean, when I get on that podcast on Friday,
re-register and I'm
going to say, folks, I looked at the box scores. I really don't care. I really
It
don't
doesn't
care.
matter until they drop it into the playoffs. Drop the puck in the playoffs. Let's go.
I look at the box scores. I'm looking at the beat reporters. Did anybody get hurt? Nobody. Okay,
Nobody got
that's
hurt?
all
We're
I
good?
care about.
All right, yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I actually was very surprised that over the weekend I was as locked into the NCAA tournament as I was, given that Florida State got bounced, and obviously you're disappointed when that happens, and so you're kind of thinking, I don't know, am I going to care? But the games were so good. I mean, every time you looked up, it was coming down to the last possession. Every time you looked up, it was going to overtime. There was just one after the other. So the drama, that tournament is spectacular, and it always gets you, even if your team's not there. It's more interesting, obviously, if you can go along for the ride with your own squad. And for back-to-back seasons, we've been able to do it now on into the Sweet 16, which is an added bonus. And I'll tell you who's I said this in the first hour, the benefactor of this basketball team playing as well as they did and getting as far as they did is FSU baseball. Because very quietly, nobody has really realized that Florida State baseball sucks. They suck. That team is garbage. And so we're at a point right now where most people would have already moved on to Florida State baseball and would kind of be up in arms as much as you could be midseason. They just lost the series to Boston College, who's garbage. And, it wasn't that close. So I think at this point we've reached another one of those moments where people are kind of palms to the sky. At the same time, it's a little different this year because it's Coach Martin's last year. But we got to ignore how bad they are and how poorly they're playing in every facet of the game, by the way. They don't do anything well. So we got to ignore that because of the basketball team, because of this tournament, and that's good. Maybe by the time people start to pay attention to the baseball team, they'll do what they often do when it looks like there is no hope and turn it around. They'll find a way out of nowhere to make Drew Parrish better. He'll suddenly get people out, which he can't do at all right now. They'll start picking up the baseball, which they don't do at all right now. They'll start hitting the baseball with some sort of collective consistency, which they don't do at all right now. Because every time you and I have ever been in a conversation thinking, well, this is the year the crash and burn happens, they do turn it around. They do. That's all. You're hoping on past precedent to guide you moving forward. Because if you're just judging the team on the results so far through this schedule, you should be panicked because they went through the easiest part of their schedule and they were terrible. It gets tougher from here.
I think what we're banking on is the 5 a.m. practice year, and that we turned it around, and there was no chance that year, and then the next thing you know, they're in Omaha.
Well, they did. They just last year they really looked like a desperate group that couldn't play, and then won the ACC. And I grant you they lost at home, but I mean they did enough to kind of change your opinion of what they were gonna be.
A couple of years ago was the more dire of the situations where
they were a game above 500 through 30 whatever games that was.
Well, you're talking about not hitting 40 wins, sure, but you're talking about finishing below 500 in the ACC at that point, not even being in the college or the tournament at all in any sense, not in a regional.
Yeah, there was that conversation starter, sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'm hoping this year follows form and we get back out to Omaha. But God, it feels like the ladder's missing some rungs. Like you couldn't even climb up that high if you wanted to, because you'd have to jump from one rung all the way up to 5 rungs above your head.
Yeah, again, I hate to harp on it, but it is. I mean, look, Florida State baseball around here is a big deal. And we have covered it now for going on 21 years. And, by and large, when you are your most desperate or at your wit's end, perhaps concerned in a way you didn't think possible with Florida State baseball given their consistency, they've turned it around. They have found a way. And that is a credit to that staff and to Coach Martin as a whole, because here's the reality. In college baseball throughout the country, no matter how prominent, prestigious the program is, they have a bad year. Texas had a year they didn't make it to the postseason. Miami's had several. We've seen these times where teams just don't make it. They just have a year where you go, what happened there? And it never comes around. Florida State's been immune to that. And so if it were to happen, that's actually more the norm. It would just be a shame that it happened in the man's final season. You found a way to get around that all these other years. They began the year playing so well, obviously against weaker opponents, but they picked up the baseball. That shouldn't affect your defense. You got to still pick up the baseball when it's put in play, and they did. Now they can't. They don't do anything well now. And so, we had 12 walks on Friday, Tom. 12.
Oh, I'm aware.
Sweet Jesus. You're walking Boston College 12 times? What is it you say you do here?
You lose by 3 runs and you walk 12. Easy math, right?
Yeah, man, it's remarkable. So anyhow, and I'm not saying anything right now that I don't think that they would disagree with. Seriously.
Oh, well, by all accounts, yes, the post-game presser yesterday was interesting.
Yeah.
So
I think they know they're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they know they're awful. You can't watch.
The old man's competitive. I think he knows.
Yeah. You can't watch that product and be like, we'll get it together.
This is not the same as Bobby. First of all, he's winning every year at a high level. And second of all, he's not staring out into center field wondering about God knows what.
Well,
he's very involved once it gets to camp and then in season. The dude likes to be more of a micromanager than he is somebody who sits at the top of a tower.
It's a bad team right now. Could they become a pretty good team? Maybe. That's where you're at. Let's do probables. Here we go. Fire it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
That just sounds good. I won't give away the early games of the day. So we'll start with the games that will begin as soon as we sign off and make our way on down the road to watch a little baseball. It sounds good to me. Tigers, Yankees tonight. Hey, it was fun watching the Orioles over the weekend take it to the Yankees, huh? Especially after that opening day.
And they gave them hope on Saturday, too. The Yankees had, I think, the winning run at the plate.
Yeah.
Big-time ninth-inning rally falls just short for Michael Kay and the Yankees.
Oh, what a shame. Tigers, Yankees. We got Tyson Ross and Domingo Germán. See ya. Brewers, Reds, Zach Davies, Tanner Roark. Orioles, Blue Jays. That's David Hess. Who? And Sean Reed Foley. Who? Who are these people? We got the Met. Sean Reed Foley sounds like he was a child actor. His career kind of fizzled out.
I was going to say, he took Kevin Costner's role in the straight-to-VHS version of Dances with Wolves 2.
Yeah. Starring Sean Reed Foley as Commander.
There he is. Yeah.
Yeah, he is a straight-to-video guy. A couple action films here and there. Julia Roberts' brother and he.
He voiced Jafar in Aladdin 2, the straight to VHS. They couldn't get Jeremy Irons back. Or whoever it was. It wasn't Jeremy Irons. He did Scar.
Mets, Marlins, Steven Matz. Don't you hate Steven Matz?
Steven Matz has some mental toughness issues. Leave it at that.
5 spring starts. He's making his debut on the year. He had a 7.47 coming out of spring, so we'll see what he offers here. Spring, you're working on things, Tom. You're working on things. I'm working on things.
You could tell he'll be on 401, Xfinity 401 tonight for the Mets Marlins.
Yeah, Caleb Smith getting to go for the Marlins, who are 2-2.
Yeah, they are. They played the Rockies really hard this weekend.
They pitch.
But you'll see it the eyes. Steven Matz either has the battle look or the I don't want to be here look.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll be watching early on. If you don't want to be there against the Marlins, who do you want to be there against?
Mm-hmm.
We got Rockies-Rays. Great game there. Chad Bettis. Ryan Stanek goes for the Rays. We've got Cubs-Braves. You can hear that game right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. The game starts at 7:10. I don't know what we're doing. 6:30 pregame. What do we do?
We're going to take it at 7 o'clock.
Okay. You don't need to hear the pregame show. Kyle Hendricks goes for the Cubs. We've got Sean Newcomb going for the Braves. The Braves got swept by the Phillies over the weekend. Just had it taken to them. And by the way, Bryce Harper hit a couple balls that are still going. The one was, woo!
He's supremely annoying, and so is that fan base already. But what an awesome moment after that first home run. It was like they won the World Series.
Yeah, it was a celebration of epic proportions for a regular season game. I thought so too.
Guys.
Yeah, he felt good about getting it out of the way. Brad Peacock is going to go for the Houston Astros. We got Drew Smiley going for the Rangers. David Price goes for the Red Sox. We're 1-3. I bet they're not panicking. The A's have already played 6 games. They're 3-3. And then we move it on down the road. Angels, Mariners, Chris Stratton going against Felix Hernandez. Oh, Felix. I don't know, man.
So apparently he was legitimately miffed that he didn't start opening day.
Yeah.
Really?
Come on, Felix. Time's up.
Self-awareness.
Well, he had 10 straight years, and he felt, he just thought, off of the cap to...
Hey, man, you signed Ichiro to a 2-game contract. You can't let your boy throw opening day?
We're trying to win on opening day, Felix.
Are you really? You're starting Ichiro.
D-backs. Well, I mean, the Mariners are 5-1. They're like, get you Ichiro.
You can win in spite of a lot of things.
Yeah, I guess
so start me, the king.
D-backs, Padres. Darrell Kelly going against Matt Strahm. And the Giants and Dodgers. Drew Pomeranz going against Julio Urias. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the up.
Get lucky with dough, blow it on the rooster.
I'm going to go home and watch Rays baseball. That's what I'm going to do.
Did you see the short little teaser for the Deadwood movie that's coming to HBO?
I did.
I thought it was going to be terrible, and it still may be.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
But that teaser was...
It looks fantastic. Do you know they're replaying all the Deadwoods right now?
Well, we're doing a binge right now at the house.
Getting caught back up. You watched Deadwood.
I have. She has not.
She has not, yeah.
So it's time for that education process.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't want to be sexist or anything, but that's a little lady watching Deadwood is a bit much. There's some rough stuff in there.
Man, she's seen some
I know.
Interesting. Yeah, she's got some program. I go, what is this sinister crap?
What are you watching? I like this. Okay.
I'm conflicted on this.
So Deadwood was on in the middle of the afternoon one day last week after I got home. Well, it was early evening after I got home. And the kids were outside playing, and I got sucked into the Deadwood vortex that happens. If you flip through and Deadwood is on, you are stopping on Deadwood. It's like Jaws. If you're flipping around and Jaws is on, guess I'm watching Jaws.
The pentameter alone.
Yeah. It's perfect, right? It's Shakespeare. It's awesome. So I'm watching, and it's right in the middle of a typical Deadwood scene. That's all you should say.
Gratuitous.
Yeah. Back and forth with the dialogue, and it's just it's beautiful. It's just hilarious. And in comes Bryce, and I didn't hear the door. And so he watched a good 3 minutes.
Oh, man.
Now, there was no violence, but just the dialogue.
Right, yeah.
And
was it Swearingen and
yes,
Wu?
Yeah, it was.
He's got the drawing out?
Yeah, it was so good. And Swearingen's doing what he does.
These
and
took my dough.
Yeah, and I look over, and Bryce's eyes are as big as saucers, and he goes, "What are you watching?" I go, "It's awesome, but don't tell your mother that I let you see any of this." And he goes, "Can we watch it together?" I go, "Maybe someday. Not today, but at some point."
You're ahead of the curve, son. But
I can't. Next level stuff. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. And again, the Braves are on tonight around 7-ish. We'll get you covered. All right, peace.